You are an orphan who has transmigrated for 15 years, without even the slightest sound from a system. Today you finally squeezed into the Immortal Sect spiritual root test. Thousands of people before you were all weeded out. When your turn came, the spirit measuring stone suddenly shone with gold and red. Even that cold-faced examiner senior brother was stunned for a moment, saying that you, not only tested for top-grade dual spiritual roots, but also harbored an extremely rare void spiritual root. You stood on his enlarged flying sword, looking down at the void origin city, which had shrunk to the size of a chessboard, thinking to yourself, 15 years of wandering were finally not in vain. Outside void origin city, you jumped off Uncle Nyo's donkey cart, and waved at him. Uncle Nyo smacked his lips. Sigh, it's a pity my boy is still young, otherwise, he would come to test too. You grinned. Don't worry, Uncle Nyo, your boy's luck is yet to come. As you turned, you pulled your bamboo hat down lower, looking toward the center of the city. You muttered to yourself, 15 years have passed, sent away by a truck in your previous life. As soon as you opened your eyes, you became a child without parents in the Azure Cloud realm, surviving by begging for a bite from this family and a meal from that one until today. In this world of immortal cultivation, if you test for spiritual roots, you can step onto the immortal path, and the profound Serenity Immortal Mansion happened to open its gates to take in disciples. Of course you had to come, but the problem is, others transmigrate with systems, grandpa figures, check-in rewards. Why do you have nothing at all? 15 years, without even a sound. You squeezed into the crowd, feeling nothing as you passed through that screening light membrane, like walking through a curtain of water. The square was packed with people, from teenagers to those in their early 20s. Indeed, there were none under 10 or over 30. You didn't want to stand out, so you took off your bamboo hat and hung it on your back, finding a crowded spot to stand quietly. The noon sun was so poisonous it made your scalp numb. A bell suddenly exploded, shaking everyone until they shivered. You looked up and saw a young man stepping on a flying sword, landing slowly, his clothes fluttering in the wind, his whole person exuding an air of immortality. The flying sword returned to its scabbard on its own, crisp and clean. You stared at that sword for a few extra moments. It was cool. You wanted to learn. I am an inner disciple of the profound Serenity Immortal Mansion, responsible for testing spiritual roots today. Everyone line up in one row. The crowd moved immediately. You stood in the front middle of the line, neither showing off nor hiding. The young man waved his hand. A round sphere hung in midair, exuding a faint light. The first boy reached out. The sphere remained motionless. The young man's expression was indifferent. Get down. No spiritual root. The boy's eyes turned red, and he was rolled out of the queue by a gentle force. Several people in a row all had no spiritual roots, being sent away dispiritedly, until a young girl tested for fire, gold, and water triple spiritual roots, lower grade, just enough to be a miscellaneous disciple. She nodded desperately, saying she was willing. While lining up, you kept in mind the rules of this world. Spiritual root attributes only govern the affinity for specific spells. Quality determines the level of talent. Even a 5 spiritual root person might hit the jackpot and have heaven grade quality. Conversely, a single spiritual root might only be lower grade. The line shuffled forward bit by bit. Honestly, you couldn't help but panic. With no gold finger, you hadn't even heard a system notification in 15 years, and you didn't feel like a chosen one, even if you were the protagonist. The scripts are varied. The good-for-nothing route is considered kind. What if it's the tragedy route, starting with a broken engagement, dugout bones, or a destroyed clan? Then you might as well find a cool place to restart. It was your turn. You walked forward, facing that cold-faced young man. He didn't even lift his eyelids much. Put your hand on it. You took a deep breath, stopped thinking, just test it, and placed your hand on it. Swish. The sphere suddenly lit up. Gold and red light intertwined and burst out. Compared to the weak light of the previous people, it was like lighting a lamp. The young man's tone still didn't have much change. Goldfire dual spiritual roots, upper grade. But his eyes paused. There was a sliver of silver mixed in the light, almost the same color as the sphere itself. If you didn't look closely, you couldn't see it at all. No, this is an exotic spiritual root, and it seems to be a void spiritual root. The young man's expression finally couldn't hold. Kid, what's your name? The stone that had been hanging in your heart for half a day finally landed. It seemed your spiritual root wasn't bad. Reporting to the immortal master. My name is Ji Yun. Very good. Gold, fire, void, upper grade triple spiritual roots. Are you willing to worship in the profound Serenity Immortal Mansion and become an outer disciple? Profound Serenity Immortal Mansion's rules are clear. Lower and middle grade can only be miscellaneous disciples. Only upper grade are qualified to enter the outer sect. You skipped a level directly. Those boys and girls who had already been accepted looked at you in unison, their gazes instantly becoming complicated. Envy was there, jealousy even more so. You walked behind the young man, and immediately many people crowded around to get close. You smiled and spoke politely, offending no one. The tests later yielded 2 middle grade, and a few lower grade. Out of over 1,000 people from start to finish, there were less than 20 with spiritual roots. Most were still lower grade. Seeing this ratio, one truly felt how precious these spiritual roots were. The spiritual root test ends here. Disperse. The young man pinched a sword formula. The long sword on his back unsheathed with a clang. The sword body suddenly expanded to the size of the whole room, hovering half a foot off the ground. You and the other 10 or so selected people stepped on it, the soles of your feet felt a warm and moist touch, like stepping on jade. The ground got further and further away. Void Origin City shrank to the size of a chessboard. The wind whistled past your ears. You squinted at the trajectory of the flying sword ahead. A thought suddenly popped into your mind. That sliver of silver light just now. When he called it a void spiritual route, there was something in his tone that he was trying hard to suppress. That wasn't excitement. It was more like fear. You weren't sure what you had gotten yourself into, but the flying sword beneath your feet was taking you to a place you had never seen before, and the sky of the Azure Cloud realm was much wider than what you saw in Void Origin City, and much colder. The clouds split and closed on both sides of the sword body, as if something was waiting for you to crash into it. You gripped your clothes tightly, saying nothing, just steadying yourself. Ji-Yun glanced at senior brother Su, who was standing straight in front, wondering to himself, most likely he cast some kind of spell. Otherwise at this speed, the wind would have blown people into meme faces long ago. He quietly moved 2 steps forward. Immortal Master. Senior brother Su turned his head, seeing it was Ji-Yun. His expression softened significantly. No need to call me Immortal Master. We will be fellow disciples from now on. My surname is Su. Just call me Senior brother Su. Senior brother Su. Ji-Yun didn't argue, and changed his words smoothly. How much longer until we reach the profound Serenity Immortal Mansion? Senior brother Su thought for a moment. Time, about 14 double hours. Distance, about over 300,000 kilometers. My goodness. Ji-Yun felt a shock in his heart. In his previous life, he was a college student. The equator is only over 40,000 kilometers. Over 300,000 kilometers. Almost circling the Earth 8 times. 14 double hours is 28 hours. Converted, the speed is about 12,000 kilometers per hour. This is no flying sword. It's fiercer than a ballistic missile. Along the way afterwards, Ji-Yun extracted quite a bit of useful information from senior brother Su. Profound Serenity Immortal Mansion. Overlord of the Eastern region. The sect has a deity transformation ancestor guarding it. Disciples are divided into 3 levels. Inner sect, outer sect, miscellaneous. Senior brother Su didn't detail the inner sect matters, just explained the rules of the outer sect and miscellaneous disciples. First, miscellaneous disciples. To put it plainly, they are the workers in the sect, the lowest level kind. There are fixed tasks to do every year. Cultivation resources all depend on saving them yourself. Flipping one's status is also simple. Either make a great contribution, or cultivate to the 7th level of chi refining before 60. Note, it is before 60. Hearing this, Ji-Yun calculated in his heart. 60 seems quite generous, but the problem is, miscellaneous disciples have poor spiritual roots, and need to work all day. Where is there time to cultivate? Those who can really practice up are probably 1 in a million, and the talent is also extremely high. But if the target isn't met by the deadline, 2 paths. Either pack up and leave to become a loose cultivator, or stay in the sect to be a miscellaneous disciple for a lifetime. Next, outer disciples. The treatment is much better. Fixed cultivation resources are issued every month. You only need to pick 3 tasks to complete every year. Relatively free, but don't be happy too soon. Outer disciples must break through to foundation establishment within 50 years, and rise to the inner sect. Otherwise, they will be demoted back to miscellaneous. This time there is no option to leave the sect, unless you break through to foundation establishment. Otherwise, you can only be a miscellaneous disciple for a lifetime. There is also a detail here. If it's an outer disciple promoted from miscellaneous, the time limit is not calculated by 50 years. Promoted by realm, only 20 years. This time is actually quite generous. And those promoted by merit, the duration depends on the situation. After hearing this, Ji-Yun silently noted these numbers. 50 years. From chi refining to foundation establishment. This time is indeed very generous. After all, to enter the outer sect, at minimum, an upper grade spiritual root is needed. Know that in some small sects, upper grade spiritual roots are already treasures of the sect. He glanced at senior brother Su standing in front with fluttering clothes, thinking, this person doesn't look old, yet is already an inner disciple. Either the talent is strong enough, or he works hard enough, or both. Maybe it's also a technique of preserving youthful appearance. The flying sword pierced through the clouds. Ji-Yun didn't pursue further questions. Inner sect matters are too far away from himself. When it's time to know, asking slowly is not too late. Just at this moment, a young boy with a red face muttered and edged over to senior brother Su, whispering, Immortal Master, I want to go to the bathroom. Senior brother Su turned his head. The gentleness he had while chatting with Ji-Yun just now vanished instantly, restoring that expression of strangers keep away. He didn't say much, casually threw out a small porcelain bottle. Cleansing pill. Eat it and you won't need to go. The boy caught the bottle, stared blankly at it for 2 moments, scratched his head, and silently retreated. Ji-Yun looked at the bottle, secretly marveling in his heart. As expected of cultivators, even things like going to the bathroom can be solved by popping a pill. Too convenient. But the matter wasn't over. Senior brother Su turned his head to look at Ji-Yun. His expression softened again. He took out a few porcelain bottles and handed them over. This is inanition pill. 1 pill covers eating and drinking for a day. Don't give too many. Ji-Yun took the bottle, honestly becoming the logistics team leader. For the next day or so, senior brother Su told quite a bit about the outer sect. Ji-Yun listened with great interest. All the questions pavilions in his heart were filled one by one. 14 double hours passed in a flash. The flying sword hovered steadily, stopping in front of a continuous mountain range. Ji-yun curiously poked his head out, looking left and right. Ahead was empty, except for mountains and mist. No buildings could be seen. He was a bit confused. Arrived. So where is the sect? Why is there nothing? Senior brother Su caught a glimpse of Ji-yun's puzzled look. His lips curved slightly. He didn't speak, just raised his hand and cast several incantations. The token at his waist glowed. The space in front of him suddenly became like water surface with a pebble thrown in, causing ripples of transparency. Before Ji-yun could react to what was happening, senior brother Su had already driven the flying sword, and dived headfirst into it. Swish! Like passing through a curtain of water that was there and yet not. The scenery before his eyes exploded instantly. Ji-yun's pupils shrank fiercely. Mountains, green peaks floating in midair, waterfalls poured down from the mountain tops, splashes scattered into mist in midair, and were blown by the wind to further pavilions. Groups of white cranes flew past, the sound of wings flapping mixed with the faint bell tolling from afar. Someone stepped on a flying sword and passed between two mountain peaks, their robes fluttering loudly in the wind. Further away, a heavenly river hung upside down. Water flowed from the sky, but didn't know where the end was. Pavilions and halls were built against the mountains, with flying eaves and upturned corners. Gold light faintly visible. Some buildings were suspended directly above the clouds, as if supported by something. The air was filled with a faint scent of vegetation, mixing with spiritual energy, rushing toward his face, making one want to take a deep breath involuntarily. Ji-yun opened his mouth, but couldn't say a word. Senior brother Su looked back at him, with a hint of indistinct laughter in his tone. Stop staring blankly. You'll have plenty of time to see it in the future. The flying sword moved forward steadily, passing through layers of clouds and mist, flying deep into the immortal sect. The few boys and girls behind who were here for the first time were also completely stunned. Once inside the boundaries of the profound Serenity Immortal Mansion, senior brother Su didn't stop for a moment, flying sword directly towards a direction. Not long after, the flying sword landed in front of a row of bamboo houses, called bamboo houses, actually just sheds built with a few bamboos, looking very crude. Compared to those immortal mountains and pavilions just now, it's like falling from heaven to earth. Get down. Senior brother Su looked at the miscellaneous disciples. This is where you will live from now on. The few miscellaneous disciples saluted quickly, jumping off the flying sword one after another. Some couldn't hide their disappointment, thought even if it was worse, they could live in a decent house. Didn't expect this kind of treatment. Others didn't pick, looking left and touching right, full of freshness. After everyone was down, senior brother Su restarted the flying sword, lowered his head and threw a sentence at them. Wait in place. A deacon will come to arrange things later. Words just fell. The flying sword had already turned around and flew away with Ji-yun. Not long after, another courtyard appeared under their feet. This time it's different. A big courtyard, blue bricks and gray tiles, arranged in order. Quite a few disciples wearing unified clothes in the yard, some chatting together, some practicing spells in the open space, and one squatting in the corner not knowing what he was doing. Looks quite lively. This is the residence of outer disciples, senior brother Su said, while controlling the flying sword to land slowly. After landing, he flicked a spiritual light from his fingertips. The spiritual light flew into the depths of the yard as if it had eyes. Not long after, a young man who looked in his 20s walked out quickly, bowing to senior brother Su. Greetings, senior brother. Senior brother Su didn't exchange pleasantries either. Directly, this is a disciple I recruited. Arrange a place for him to live. After speaking, he turned to Ji-yun. You stay here first. The disciple token will be sent to your hand in one day. Then go to the sutra library to pick a cultivation method and a spell. Okay, thank you, senior brother Su. Ji-yun saluted respectfully. Senior brother Su nodded, smiling rarely. If you run into any trouble you can't handle, use this talisman to contact me. After speaking, he tossed out a piece of talisman paper. Ji-yun caught it and took a look. It was covered with incomprehensible runes. Didn't look like cheap goods. He quickly put it away, and thanked him earnestly. Senior brother Su saw his attitude, satisfied and nodded. He really favored Ji-yun. Void spiritual root. The entire Azure Cloud realm has only appeared twice since the beginning. The first time was too long ago. Only heard that the senior cultivated to the deity transformation stage, and finally sat in a corner of the Azure Cloud realm. The second time was about 100,000 years ago. At that time, the overlord of the Azure Cloud realm was the Azure Cloud sect. Even the name Azure Cloud realm was taken by them. Legend has it that the senior broke through the void training stage, and broke the boundary to ascend. Now, Ji-yun is the third. Senior brother Su didn't say any more, stepped on the flying sword, and flew towards the inner courtyard, his clothes fluttering loudly in the wind. Soon turned into a small dot, disappeared into the mountain mist. Ji-yun stood in place, looking down at the talisman in his hand, then looked up at the sword shadow far away, suddenly felt, this senior brother is quite good. The outer disciple who was called out by senior brother Su watched the direction of the flying sword moving away, sighed gently. It seems senior brother Su really favors you. Ji-yun looked over following the sound. This senior brother has delicate features, corners of his mouth with a smile when speaking, looks quite easy to get along with. Haven't asked the senior brother's name yet. Zhou Changshu. Just call me Changshu. He waved his hand with a smile. I am the person in charge of this disciple courtyard, managing miscellaneous things. Ji-yun hugged his fist quickly. Ji-yun greets senior brother Changshu. Hey, don't be so formal. Zhou Changshu waved his hand. Follow me. Let's find you a place to live first. He turned and walked into the yard. Ji-yun followed quickly. After walking a few steps, Ji-yun couldn't help but ask about senior brother Su's background. Zhou Changshu's footsteps paused slightly, with a hint of emotion in his tone. Senior brother Su. He was also an outer disciple. 7 years ago, the outer sect competition. He took 5th place. Directly entered the inner sect. Outer sect competition. Ji-yun's eyes lit up. The competition must be fierce. Right. Hundreds of outer sect disciples squeezed their heads. Only the top 10 can enter the inner sect. Zhou Changshu shook his head. 5th place. What concept? Not only is the cultivation hard enough, but also have to have a hand in fighting. Senior brother Su was famous for being a ruthless person back then. Ji-yun clicked his tongue twice, with a look of "that's it" on his face. Quietly remembered it. Zhou Changshu saw his reaction, smiled and didn't say much, leading him to continue walking into the depths of the yard. Zhou Changshu introduced the situation in the yard while walking. Outer disciples all live together in this kind of courtyard with a 100-person scale. Of course, if the pockets are wealthy, can also open up a separate courtyard or cave dwelling yourself, but must report to the sect first. Whether it is approved or not is another matter. The two passed through several small paths, came to a relatively remote small courtyard. Zhou Changshu stopped, raised his chin. Look, this is where you will live in the future. Ji-yun looked left and right. The yard is not big. A small bluestone path in front of the door. Sparse clumps of bamboo on both sides, rustling when the wind blows. He couldn't help saying a sentence. This place is a bit cold and clear. That is natural. Zhou Changshu nodded. Wasn't it just finished recruiting disciples? The courtyards beside you are all newly arrived fellow disciples this few days. Each one just contacted cultivation. Wished to soak in cultivation methods and spells 12 hours a day. Who has time to come out and wander? Words just fell. The door of the courtyard next door creaked open. A young girl walked out. She saw Zhou Changshu at a glance. Immediately greeted with a smile. Good day, senior brother Changshu. Then looked at Ji-yun curiously. Who is this? Oh, like you. Newly entered. Zhou Changshu introduced casually. Ji-yun quickly hugged his fist. Hello, my name is Ji-yun. I just joined. Have to call you senior sister. The girl giggled, waved her hand generously. Go ahead, junior brother. My name is Ning Xia. Nice to meet you. She waved at the two. Senior brother, junior brother. I have something to do here. Leaving first. See you. After speaking, walked along the path with light steps. Zhou Changshu withdrew his gaze, turned and pushed open the door of the small courtyard in front. Let's go. Take you in to see. Pushing open the courtyard gate. Inside is a quiet small courtyard. Pebble path. A few clumps of green bamboo. A stone table with 2 bamboo chairs. Simple. Quite elegant. Ji-yun went around. The more he saw, the more satisfied he was. How to say? It is also 18 streets stronger than the old and broken house he lived in before that leaked wind and rain. This place is quite good. Thank you, senior brother Changshu. As long as you are satisfied. Zhou Changshu smiled, took out a thin booklet from his sleeve and handed it over. Newcomer guide, sect rules, daily precautions are all inside. You flip through it yourself. I have something to do on my side. Talk again another day. If you run into any difficulties, remember to find me. Okay, senior brother Changshu. Ji-yun waved his hand, watching Zhou Changshu walk out of the courtyard gate. The big gate closed gently. The courtyard was completely quiet. The wind passed through the bamboo leaves, making a subtle rustling sound. Ji-yun stood in front of the stone table, took a deep breath. The air carried the faint scent of vegetation, mixing with the faint spiritual energy, making one feel relaxed from head to toe. He looked down at the booklet in his hand, then looked up at the immortal mountains and pavilions looming in the clouds. From today on, the path of immortal cultivation is truly taking the first step. Early the next morning, the status token and the cloud blue clothes of the outer disciples were delivered to the door on time. Ji-yun changed into the clothes, and looked at himself in the bronze mirror. Quite spirited. This cloud blue robe makes people look gentle. To put it better, it has a bit of a humble gentleman's meaning. He nodded satisfied, casually hung the token on his waist. The token is in hand, which means he can go and choose the cultivation method. Ji-yun didn't delay, and went out early. The sutra library is at the other end of the sect. He went around the mountain road, walked for more than half an hour, before seeing that gray-white pavilion from afar. Looking up at the sun, it was almost noon. It is really far enough. He wiped his sweat, couldn't help but mutter a sentence. There are quite a few people in front of the sutra library, coming and going quite lively. Some people have excitement they can't hide on their faces. Looking at it, it's a newcomer just joined. There are also a few with stable breaths, and calm footsteps, probably old disciples, looking for other cultivation methods here. Ji-yun had no time to examine others. He now has only one thing in mind. Go in quickly, find a cultivation method that suits him, start practicing, take a deep breath. He stepped across the threshold of the sutra library. The moment Ji-yun stepped inside, he felt the space in front of him open up by a large margin. He was stunned for a moment, looked back at the door, and turned back again. Didn't look wrong. It really is much larger inside than it looks outside. But he didn't have time to investigate this right now. His attention was all absorbed by the bookshelf in front of him. Metal essence formula. formula. Fire radiance art. Greenwood gong. Profound water record. Rows of cultivation methods neatly stacked on the shelf. Densely packed. Making people dizzy. Ji-Yun shook his head, touching his chin and worrying. So many cultivation methods. How to choose? Can't flip through them one by one. Can't finish flipping until next year. Just pondering whether to find a senior brother or sister to ask. His peripheral vision swept to a middle-aged man sitting at the counter, leaning on the back of the chair, his head drooping slightly, his eyelids drooping, looking like he is taking a nap. Deacon, I want to borrow this spell. A senior brother walked over, holding a book in his hand. The deacon opened his eyes slowly, glanced at the cover. The tone was indifferent. Flame explosion step. 200 contribution points. The senior brother nodded, took out the disciple token and handed it over. The deacon did casually. The token flashed a faint light. The transaction is over. The senior brother took the book and turned to leave. The deacon returned to the half-sleeping and half-awake state just now, as if those dialogues just now hadn't happened at all. Ji-Yun's eyes lit up, quickly moved to the counter. The deacon noticed someone approaching, slowly lifted his eyelids, seeing it was a young boy without any cultivation. His eyebrows moved slightly. Newcomer. Yes, deacon sir. Ji-Yun nodded honestly. The deacon became interested, sat upright. What is the matter with me? Deacon sir, I have fire, gold, void triple spiritual roots. Want to ask if you have any recommended cultivation methods. Void spiritual root. The deacon's originally nonchalant expression vanished instantly. His whole person refreshed, up and down, carefully examined Ji-Yun. That look seemed to want to see through the person from head to toe. Ji-Yun felt a bit uncomfortable being watched, stretched out his hand to scratch the back of his head, gave two dry laughs. Of course, current him doesn't know the rarity of void spiritual root. Otherwise he would definitely understand why everyone looks at him like this. The deacon realized he had lost his composure just now, coughed twice lightly, corrected his look. Want me to recommend cultivation methods? Ji-Yun nodded quickly. The deacon pondered for a moment, and said, Metal Fire Radiance Technique should be quite suitable for you. Ji-Yun's eyes lit up. Where is this cultivation method? Second floor, column 14, row 3, book 2. Thank you, deacon. Ji-Yun's words hadn't fallen yet. He had already turned and ran towards the stairs. The deacon looked at his back, muttered in a low voice, Void spiritual root, then shook his head, and shrank back into the chair, closed his eyes, continued to nap. On the other side, Ji-Yun went to the second floor, looked along the way according to what the deacon said. Column 14, row 3, book 2. He stretched out his hand and pulled it out. On the cover, Metal Fire Radiance Technique. A few big characters with sharp strokes. Didn't look like ordinary goods. He couldn't wait to open the first page. The general outline was clearly visible. Husband gold. Extremely rigid and sharp. The chi of heaven and earth. Fire. Extremely young and fierce. The vitality of creation. Ji-Yun stared at these lines. Read them 3 times. He recognized the characters. The old gentleman of the village school taught them when he was a child. Although he couldn't be counted as well read. But recognizing characters is no problem. The problem is, he couldn't understand when they were together. What is chi? What is vitality? What does this have to do with cultivation? He scratched his head. His brain was a mess. Now he is stumped. Just as he was staring at the general outline in a daze. Ding! A crisp sound exploded in his mind. Ji-Yun's whole body stiffened. A semi-transparent light screen appeared out of thin air. A line of characters was clearly written on it. Congratulations to the host for contacting the cultivation method. The Heaven Rewards Diligence system is at your service. What? Ji-Yun rubbed his eyes hard. The light screen was still there. He pinched his thigh. Painful. Not dreaming. System. It's really a system. A surge of heat rushed into his eye sockets. Ji-Yun felt his nose sore. Almost cried on the spot. 15 years. 15 full years since transmigrating. Others transmigrated and the system awakened on the 3rd day. Check-in rewards. God equipment in hand. What about him? Parents gone. No gold finger. Surviving by meals until now. He really thought he was abandoned by heaven. Had to explore this immortal world with bare hands for a lifetime. As a result, the system came. At the moment he needed it most. At the moment he was worrying about the cultivation method. With a ding, came. Ji-Yun took a deep breath, forcibly suppressed the emotion in his heart. There were other disciples looking for books around. He couldn't look abnormal, but he couldn't suppress the corners of his mouth. He looked down at the Metal Fire Radiance Technique in his hand, and looked up at the light screen in front of him again. Only one thought remained in his heart. I am going to get rich. Ji-Yun refocused his eyes on the light screen in front. System. System. He tried calling twice in his heart. No reaction. Called twice again. Still no reaction. The panel hovered quietly there. Neither a novice guide popped up, nor any reminder sound rang again. Ji-Yun touched his chin. This is that kind of pure machine system. Only gives a panel. Does not speak. Does not issue tasks. Does not abstract. Forget it. Having is better than nothing. He didn't struggle anymore. Murmured in his heart to open the panel. The light screen refreshed immediately. Host. Ji-Yun. Cultivation. None. Cultivation method. None. Spell. None. Good guy. 3 no player. Ji-Yun's mouth twitched. Not surprised either. The headache is what functions this system actually has. No guide. No explanation. Everything can only be explored slowly by himself. He temporarily put down the system matter. Picked up the Metal Fire Radiance Technique again. Flipped to the general outline page. Prepared to look at the second page. As a result? Couldn't flip. The pages were stuck by something. Couldn't flip no matter how. He tried to poke twice. Motionless. Just wondering. A spiritual light suddenly came out from the book page, straight into his forehead. Ji-Yun was slightly stunned. A message appeared in his mind. The general outline is a preview part provided by the sect. Wanting to flip to the second page for formal practice. Need to exchange with contribution points. Alright. He closed the book. Rubbed his forehead. Prepared to choose this cultivation method. After all, not only did the deacon recommend it, and this cultivation method is obviously biased towards metal and fire. Fits his gold and fire spiritual roots. Ji-Yun carried the book downstairs. Walked to the counter. The deacon opened his eyes. Glanced at him. Selected. The deacon sir recommended. I naturally believe. Ji-Yun smiled and handed over the book. The deacon's mouth curved slightly. Didn't say anything. Took his outer sect token and ate it casually. The new disciple's quota for exchanging cultivation methods was used up like this. Okay, but remember, cultivation methods and spells cannot be passed on. I remember. Thank you, deacon sir. Ji-Yun received the token. Turned to leave. Didn't exchange spells. The deacon asked from behind. Ji-Yun shook his head. No, I intend to focus on the cultivation method first. Will choose spells when I take outer sect tasks later. He had already calculated. Outer sect tasks are varied, but most have hard requirements for spells. Can't take tasks if you don't know a few spells. The rest that don't need spells, basically are hard labor like moving bricks and cutting wood. Exhausting and can't earn a few contribution points. Rather than exchanging one casually now, it's better to wait until the task direction is determined. Then treat the disease. The deacon looked at his back. Added a few points of appreciation in his eyes. This kid has focus. Also has planning. Quite rare. Ji-Yun stepped out of the sutra library's door. The sun fell on his face just right. He squinted. Touched the metal fire radiance technique in his bosom, and the token on his waist. Already had a clear route in his heart. Practice the cultivation method first. Then slowly explore the system's doorway. The road is still long. No rush. After that, Ji-Yun carried the cultivation method and went all the way back to the residence. Before his butt was steady, he couldn't wait to open it. Metal fire radiance technique. He skipped the first page's general outline directly. Straight to the second page. Starting from here is the real practice method. Unfortunately, the ideal is plump. The reality is skinny. He recognized all the characters in the cultivation method, but put together it's like a heavenly book. Lead metal and fire chi into the pulse. Cycle. To temper the body. Understands every character. Putting it together makes people have a big head. Ji-Yun braced himself and read it through. Only felt his brain was like stuffed with a group of cotton. Swelling. Stifling. Hiss. This feeling. Why is it like studying? He muttered with a bitter face. The most annoying thing in the previous life was gnawing textbooks. Didn't expect to suffer this sin after transmigrating. However, just as he closed the book, prepared to take a breath, ding, the system panel suddenly jumped out. Host is studying the cultivation method. Metal fire radiance technique. Understanding +1. Current progress. January 10th. At the same time, a clear realization surged into his mind out of thin air. Not text, not sound, but a feeling that he suddenly understood. Those obscure sentences just now, looking again at this moment, actually vaguely touched a bit of the doorway. Ji-Yun was stunned. He blinked, and opened the book and read that passage again. This time, although still couldn't fully understand it, but at least didn't look black eyes. This is the system's function. He stared at the words Heaven Rewards Diligence system on the panel. A flash of inspiration in his mind. Heaven rewards diligence. Heaven rewards diligence. Means, for every point of effort I pay, the system helps me amplify 1 point of gain. Not that kind of lying down and upgrading system, but the more you work hard, the more ruthless the return. Ji-Yun breathed out slowly. The corners of his mouth slowly curled up. Good guy. Isn't this tailored for him? The thing he lacks most is the stubborn energy. Ji-Yun played games in his previous life for a perfect clearance achievement. Could brush the same level 100 or 80 times. Brushed until he could recite the enemy's refresh position with his eyes closed. Reading is the same. Disliked from the heart. But as long as he decided I wanted to get into that university, could bite his teeth and nail himself to the desk. Gnaw page by page. Therefore, this kind of system that requires effort, for him, simply too suitable. No complaints. No entanglement. He took a deep breath. Opened the cultivation method. Continued to read down. Second time. Ding. Understanding +1. Third time. Ding. Understanding +1. Fourth time. Fifth time. After reading each time, the system would pop up a prompt on time. At the same time, sent a wisp of new realization. Those sentences that were originally obscure like heavenly books, chewing again and again, started to slowly become clear, transparent, like a rough stone being polished repeatedly, gradually revealing the jade inside. 8th time, 9th time, 10th time. Ding. Host is studying the cultivation method. Metal fire radiance technique. Understanding +1. Current progress. October 10th. Ding. Host has completely understood the cultivation method. Words didn't fall. A huge flow of information instantly surged into Ji-Yun's mind. Not scattered sentences, not fuzzy feelings, but the cultivation method of the whole cultivation method. Cultivation route. Key nodes. Precautions. Detailed. Completely carved into his memory. Like he was born to know it. Ji-Yun closed his eyes and digested for a moment. Slowly breathed out a turbid breath. Summoned the system panel again. Cultivation. Host, Ji-Yun. Cultivation, none. Cultivation method. Metal Fire Radiance Technique. Introductory 0 out of 100. Spell, none. Looking at the words introductory 0 out of 100 on the panel, Ji-Yun didn't rush to practice. Instead, he thought about it first. After understanding is full, directly became introductory, showing that the system has chewed the cultivation method and fed it to his mouth. Next, want to rise. Probably have to rely on real cultivation. After all, cultivation method. Only look at understanding and not practice. What is the difference from talking on paper? Thinking of this layer, Ji-Yun didn't hesitate anymore. Sat cross-legged, closed his eyes. Honestly, a bit uneasy, but more as an uncontrollable excitement. 15 years. Finally going to formally step onto this path of cultivation. He followed the method recorded in the brain cultivation method. Adjusted his breathing first. One spit, one take. Slowly let the body quiet down. Should be because of the upper grade spiritual root. Not too long. He vaguely felt that there was some kind of wandering energy in the air. Invisible. Can't touch. But consciousness can capture it. Like in the night wind. Faint chill. This is spiritual energy. Ji-Yun stabilized his mind. According to the cultivation method. Started to try to lead a wisp of it. Between spit and take. A thread of warmth seemed to be moved by his breathing. Gently drilled into the body. That feeling is very strange. Like a warm water flow seeping in from the pores. Flowing slowly along the meridians. He didn't dare to distract. According to the route guided by the cultivation method. Carefully guided this wisp of spiritual energy to circulate in the body. After a cycle, that warm current gradually took on a sliver of sharpness. Like a sword that was slowly polished to have an edge. Finally settled firmly in the dantian. Ding. System sounded on time. Host cultivates the cultivation method. Cultivation method proficiency +1. Current cultivation method proficiency. Introductory 1 out of 100. Ji-Yun didn't look. At this moment he was already immersed in the state of cultivation. Turning a deaf ear to everything outside. The threshold of chi refining level 1 is to condense spiritual energy into a gas cyclone in the dantian. And the wisp of spiritual energy in the dantian now just stayed quietly. Lazy. Simply can't move. He needed more spiritual energy. Enough spiritual energy to twist them into a rope and get it spinning. A wisp. And then another wisp. Each time a major cycle was completed, the system would jump with a prompt, and another wisp of spiritual energy would be stored in the dantian. Ji-Yun was like a tireless machine, drawing in, circulating, and precipitating, over and over again. A few hours passed. Ji-Yun's meridians began to feel faintly swollen, like a road that had been overdriven. If he kept pushing, he was afraid it would be easy to leave hidden injuries. He didn't overexert himself, and took the opportunity to withdraw his power. He opened his eyes, and first summoned the panel to take a look. Cultivation method. Metal Fire Radiance Technique. Introductory 19 out of 100. A few hours. 19 points of proficiency. Ji-Yun calculated silently in his heart. At this rate, in another 5 or 6 days, he should be able to touch the threshold of the proficient level. The cultivation method wrote it clearly. All cultivation methods are divided into 6 levels. Introductory, proficient, mastered, minor success, major success, great perfection. The higher the proficiency, the faster the cultivation efficiency. Spells are the same principle. The higher the proficiency, the more powerful the effect. However, most cultivators only practice to minor success or major success. That great perfection stuff is basically ground out by hard work over time. Cannot be rushed. Thinking and thinking. Sleepiness surged like the tide. For the first cultivation, the mental consumption was far more tiring than the body. His eyelids felt as heavy as if they were filled with lead. Fortunately, he was already sitting cross-legged on the bed. His body tilted, and as soon as his head touched the pillow, he fell fast asleep. This sleep lasted directly from late night until the next noon. Sunlight spilled in through the window paper, falling warmly on his face. Ji-Yun turned over, opened his eyes in a daze, and was stunned for a long time before remembering who he was, where he was, and what he did yesterday. He stretched a big stretch. His bones made a series of cracking sounds, feeling comfortable all over. Ji-Yun subconsciously performed internal introspection of his dantian. There was much less spiritual energy. To be precise, it didn't disappear, but melted into his body, nourishing his muscles, bones, skin, and membranes quietly. This is the awkwardness of not having stepped into chi refining. Under normal circumstances, the spiritual energy cultivated, the body would absorb a portion to strengthen itself, only by condensing into a cyclone. Officially stepping into the chi refining period, the cyclone begins to operate on its own, and the spiritual energy in the dantian will be like living water, inexhaustible, self-replenishing. The loss must break through to chi refining quickly. Ji-Yun calculated in his heart, but there was one more thing before the breakthrough. The Metal Fire Radiance Technique wrote it clearly. After breaking through to chi refining, it is necessary to use fire attribute medicinal pills or heavenly treasures to ignite the cyclone. This is not a one-time consumable. After igniting, the cyclone will carry a permanent quenching effect. Every wisp of spiritual energy cultivated in the future will be purer than others, equivalent to installing a permanent buff for the cultivation path. But the problem came. Medicinal pills and heavenly treasures all require contribution points. He currently only has the 20 points given for free by the sect every month. Eat first. Thinking of anything with an empty stomach is useless. Ji-Yun pushed open the door, squinted at the noon sun, and lifted his feet to walk towards the dining hall. A few minutes later, Ji-Yun walked into the dining hall at the edge of the courtyard following the flow of people. The dining hall dishes are divided into two gears. One is ordinary meals supplied for free, which fills you up. The other is spiritual meals bought with spirit stones or contribution points. The ingredients contain spiritual energy, and eating them is beneficial for cultivation. He naturally chose the free one. His pockets were cleaner than his face. How could he have the capital to be extravagant? Before reaching the window of ordinary meals, someone shouted from behind, "Junior brother." Ji-Yun looked back. Zhou Changshu was walking towards him with a smile. "Junior brother, coming to eat?" "Yes, senior brother." Ji-Yun responded generously. Zhou Changshu walked up to him, and patted him on the shoulder. "Let's go. Senior brother will treat you to a spiritual meal. How about it?" Ji-Yun waved his hand quickly. "That would be too much expense for you, senior brother." "No." Zhou Changshu shook his head with a smile. "I have stayed in the outer sect for so long, and have saved some family background. It's just a spiritual meal. Don't be polite with me." Ji-Yun looked at him, and didn't decline again. "Then I will trouble you, senior brother." He knew clearly in his heart. This was Zhou Changshu actively releasing goodwill. As to whether this goodwill was aimed at him, or because of senior brother Su's face, he couldn't see through it for the time being. But it didn't matter. Since others give face, he would accept it. After all, being kind to others, remember it in his heart, and pay it back when there is an opportunity. Zhou Changshu brought back 2 spiritual meals, and placed them in front of Ji-Yun. The dishes were indeed rich. The spiritual rice was crystal clear. The monster meat was cut thick. The spiritual vegetables were emerald green. Ji-Yun thought, eating this for 5 contribution points. It was mostly the sect's welfare price. He took a bite of the spiritual rice. The grains melted in his mouth. A stream of warm spiritual energy poured into his body along his throat. Ji-Yun was shocked. Instinctively operated the cultivation method, quickly refined this foreign spiritual energy, and settled it steadily into the dantian. His eyes lit up. If there were a few more bites, he felt, he could even refine a whole new wisp of spiritual energy directly. However, Zhou Changshu sitting opposite him stopped his chopsticks. His expression was a bit surprised. "Junior brother, you have already mastered the cultivation method." "Didn't notice it just now. Now that I sense it carefully, there are clearly traces of spiritual energy in Ji-Yun's body." Ji-Yun nodded. "Yes, senior brother. You chose the first level cultivation method." "No, I chose the second level one." Ji-Yun felt this question was strange. What's wrong with the first level? Zhou Changshu breathed a sigh of relief, and shook his head again. "Nothing. The first level is superficial skills for miscellaneous disciples to transition. If you chose that, the deacon should have reminded you." He paused, and his eyes looking at Ji-Yun became more complicated. Junior brother really is, with astonishing comprehension. What he didn't say was, now he finally understands a little, why senior brother Su was so amiable to this newcomer. Ji-Yun didn't feel that he had exposed anything big. For one, he hadn't learned any methods to hide his aura. The traces of cultivation couldn't be hidden at all. For another, he hadn't achieved inanition. He had to come out to eat every day, and see people. He couldn't always hide in the room and play transparency. Besides, the more he concealed, the more suspicious it would be. He just performed a little bit more genius. In history, there were many examples of ruthless people with lower-grade spiritual roots who finally shattered the void. There were many people with greater ability than him. His progress really didn't count as anything earth-shattering. Instead of shrinking, he might as well be open. Eat when it's time to eat. Practice when it's time to practice. Take things as they come. Water comes, earth covers. After eating and drinking enough, Ji-Yun touched his stomach, feeling a few more wisps of spiritual energy in his body, and was in a good mood. At this time, he suddenly remembered. He hadn't chosen a spell yet. So, he looked at Zhou Changshu, and asked directly, "Senior brother, after I reach chi refining, are there any tasks you recommend?" Zhou Changshu put down his bowl and chopsticks, and asked back with a smile, "Want to earn contribution points?" Ji-Yun nodded. "Then I really have quite a few to recommend to you." Zhou Changshu thought for a while, and started counting with his fingers. Actually, the best tasks are generally those that require fighting, like going to nearby barren mountains to eradicate monsters or something. But you just joined. It is best to choose those with less things to do, and not bad rewards. He paused, and continued, "If divided by spiritual roots, water spiritual roots can go to the spiritual fields to help. Learn a cloud rain spell to nourish the spiritual fields. Earth spiritual roots can also go to the spiritual fields. Learn some spells to nourish the soil. Wood spiritual roots are even more suitable. Go directly to plant spiritual plants. Cultivate spiritual medicine. Very appropriate. There are quite a few choices for fire spiritual roots. Go to the alchemy room or weapon refining room to work as a helper. Although there are many things to do, the extra income is quite considerable." Speaking of this, Zhou Changshu's expression became subtle. metal. As for metal spiritual roots, TSK, a bit awkward. The best situation is, cooperate with fire spiritual roots to do things in the weapon refining room. Otherwise you can only honestly do some hard work. But having said that, once the metal spiritual root grows up, learn a few killing type spells. The speed of earning contribution points later is definitely the fastest. Actually, the spells that cultivators can practice are not limited by spiritual root attributes. After all, spiritual root attributes only represent your affinity for that attribute. Cultivators can also learn spells that do not match their spiritual roots. It's just that the effort is half the result, and the effect is far worse. So most people still choose spells that match their spiritual roots, saving effort and high efficiency. Ji Yun, after listening to Zhou Changshu's analysis, had already started calculating in his head. The suggestions Zhou Changshu gave were all good, but combining his own gold, fire, and void triple spiritual roots, the most suitable is to go to the weapon refining room to work as a helper. After all, what is most deeply involved with weapon refining is fire and metal. As for void spiritual root, although not useful for the time being, but there will definitely be room for play later. Zhou Changshu saw Ji Yun's eyes had a direction, smiled and asked, "Junior brother, looks like you already have an idea." Ji Yun nodded. "Yes, thank you, senior brother." Zhou Changshu waved his hand. "These are just personal experiences, not much, but junior brother, have you decided what to go do? I can help you pull some strings. These tasks are all very popular. Without introduction, don't know when to wait until it's your turn." Ji Yun hesitated for a moment. Would it be too much trouble for you, senior brother?" No. Zhou Changshu gave a hearty laugh. "Just take it as senior brother favoring you. Take it as you owe me a favor." Okay. After listening, Ji Yun had to admire in his heart. This Zhou Changshu really knows how to behave. If he wants a favor, he says so directly, doesn't beat around the bush, doesn't use fake politeness either, openly puts the conditions on the table. This frankness, instead makes people feel comfortable in their hearts. His favor for him rose continuously. "Then thank you, senior brother." Ji Yun hugged his fist, and recorded this favor in his heart again. Next, Ji Yun directly told Zhou Changshu his thoughts. Wants to work as a helper in the weapon refining room. Can. Zhou Changshu nodded readily. "We'll give you an answer tomorrow. One meal." Both of them were quite satisfied. Ji Yun solved the way to earn contribution points in the future. Zhou Changshu gained the favor of a junior brother with infinite potential. Neither felt they lost. After the meal ended, Ji Yun didn't rush back to the residence, but took a turn, and walked towards the Deacon Hall. The way to earn contribution points was there. But right now there is a more urgent matter. The fire attribute medicinal pills or heavenly treasures needed for the breakthrough to chi refining have no clue yet. Must go to the Deacon Hall to inquire first. See how many contribution points these things need. Have a bottom line in his heart. Took quite a bit of effort. Ji Yun finally climbed to the mountain peak where the Deacon Hall is located. The highest mountain top in this area of the outer sect, without cultivation to rely on. Just climbing this road almost cost him half his life. His legs were like filled with lead. His lungs were like burning. Fortunately, there was a senior brother passing by on the way who couldn't bear to see it, and casually threw him 2 spells to relieve fatigue. Otherwise his disheveled look would have to be doubled. The last few steps were almost gritted teeth and supported up. Ji Yun supported his knees with both hands, panting heavily, looked up. The view in front of him suddenly widened. A imposing building sat steadily on the flat ground at the top of the mountain. The whole building is built with blue-gray stone bricks, distinct edges and corners. The eaves corners are highly upturned, like an eagle ready to go. A big plaque hung on the lintel, written with the 3 words Deacon Hall. The pen strokes are rigid, exuding an unquestionable majesty. Standing at the door, people will naturally become quiet and restrained. Even their steps will unconsciously become lighter. Ji Yun swallowed his saliva, straightened his waist and walked inside. There are not many people in the Deacon Hall. Also, with that solemn and grave atmosphere inside, few people are willing to run here without nothing to do. There are quite a few deacons sitting on both sides of the hall. All are inner sect disciples who received tasks and came to the outer sect to hang office. The cultivation base is at least foundation establishment. To put it plainly, is to take the opportunity of being a deacon, to find a stable extra income. The pressure emitted by them intentionally or unintentionally, like layers of invisible tide, flooding the entire hall. Ji Yun stepped into the door, felt his shoulders sink, as if something was pressed on it. Not painful, but his whole body was awkward. Even breathing was not smooth. Several gazes swept over, seeing that it was a young disciple who hadn't reached chi refining yet. Quite a few deacons took the initiative to take back the released aura, and some even directly cast a gentle spiritual power, covering Ji Yun. That heavy sense of oppression instantly dissipated by more than half. He then quietly let out a sigh of relief. Ji Yun walked to the reception desk. A senior brother sat behind the counter, looking at the cultivation of the foundation establishment period, but has no heirs. Seeing someone come, he asked first, "Junior brother, are you here to receive tasks?" Ji Yun shook his head. "No, I want to see what can be exchanged for contribution points." "Is that so?" The senior brother nodded knowingly, pulled a thick booklet from under the counter and handed it over. "What can be exchanged is inside. You flip through it yourself." "Okay, thank you, senior brother." Ji Yun took the booklet. It was thicker than imagined. He flipped through the directory first, and skipped directly to the category of medicinal pills. The first line entered his eyes. Is a medicinal pill of 7 or 800 contribution points. 7 or 800. Ji-yun gasped. Only one thought in his heart. Can't afford it. Simply can't afford it. Ji-yun quickly flipped a few pages back, seeing medicinal pills in the level of dozens of contribution points. Only then breathed a sigh of relief, slowed down and looked line by line. Blood quenching pill. Yellow grade middle rank. Quench blood energy. Enhance physique. 60 contribution points. Essence nurturing pill. Yellow grade middle rank. Improve cultivation efficiency. 50 contribution points. Spirit returning pill. Yellow grade middle rank. Accelerate injury recovery. 60 contribution points. Flipped around. Ji-yun's gaze finally stopped on a pill called Red Spirit Pill. The description wrote, quench physique. At the same time strengthen the meridians of the whole body. It actually fits his needs. The price is 80 contribution points. Temporarily can't afford it, but at least had a clear goal. In his heart also had a bottom line. Ji-yun continued to flip a few pages down, and looked at things he could indeed afford for the time being. Inanition pill. Not graded. 1 contribution point per pill. Cleansing pill. Not graded. Also 1 contribution point per pill. Chi gathering pill. Yellow grade lower rank. 10 contribution points per pill. Spirit gathering powder. Yellow grade lower rank. 5 contribution points per share. Lower grade spirit stone. 1 contribution point per stone. He had seen inanition pill and cleansing pill before. At that time he also felt very convenient. Now seeing the price, 1 contribution point per pill, immediately dispelled the thought. He hadn't reached that level of extravagance yet. He put more attention on chi gathering pill and spirit gathering powder. Both can accelerate cultivation speed. The price is different. The effect is probably different too. As for spirit stones, although they are hard currency in the immortal world, can also assist in cultivation. But the rules of the Profound Serenity Immortal Mansion are that contribution points can be exchanged for spirit stones. Spirit stones cannot be exchanged for contribution points. Basically no one will be stupid enough to reverse operation. Ji-yun closed the booklet, looked up at the senior brother in the counter. Senior brother, 1 share of spirit gathering powder and 1 chi gathering pill each. He wanted to try the effect himself. After all, no matter what, accelerating cultivation speed is not a loss. As for red spirit pill, although jealous, but 80 contribution points are still far away, can't be rushed, and he already had some ideas in his heart about how to gather this money. Okay, the senior brothered his token casually. Chi gathering pill 10 points. Spirit gathering powder 5 points. A total of 15 points. Newcomers first exchange. Give you a 10% discount. 13 points. Ji-yun was stunned, then smiled. Thank you, senior brother. He received the pills and token. Silently gave this senior brother a thumbs up in his heart. Ji-yun carried the 2 pills and left the deacon hall back to the small courtyard. Closed the door. Sat cross-legged. He first took apart the spirit gathering powder. Powder form. Texture is superior. White and delicate. Ji-yun stared for 2 moments. A bit fearful. Always feels like something indescribable. But also hesitated for only 1 second. Swallowed it with a tilt of his head. The medicinal power spread slowly in the abdomen. Warm. Long. Like a group of warm currents. Ji-yun quickly closed his eyes to operate the cultivation method, refining meticulously. An hour later, the medicinal power was completely absorbed. He opened his eyes. Internal look at the dantian. There were clearly a few more wisps of spiritual energy, settling steadily in the dantian. The effect of spirit gathering powder is indeed not bad. Ji-yun calculated in his heart. If he could take it long term, the cultivation speed can be seen visibly rising. But thinking again, under current conditions, long-term taking is purely a dream. The contribution points in his pocket can't afford this making. And pills are things that can't be greedy. Eating too much in a short time, medicinal poison accumulates in the body. The body can't discharge. Sooner or later problems will occur. He threw these thoughts aside. Picked up the chi gathering pill. Also yellow grade lower rank. The price is 5 contribution points difference. The effect is definitely different. The moment the package was opened, a rich medicine fragrance rushed towards his face. Just smelling it felt comfortable all over. Ji-yun can be sure. The medicine effect of this thing is absolutely fiercer than spirit gathering powder. He carefully poured the chi gathering pill into his palm. The pill is cyan, round and smooth. The touch is warm and delicate, like holding a warm jade bead. Ji-yun looked over and over for a few moments, and couldn't see any way. Simply didn't struggle. Threw the pill into his mouth directly. The pill melted in the mouth. Even saved the trouble of chewing. The next second, Ji-yun's eyes stared fiercely. A majestic medicinal power exploded in his body. Instantly filled the abdominal meridians. Tightened his whole body. Damn, such strong medicinal power. He couldn't take care of anything else. Quickly closed his eyes and sat cross-legged. Fully operated the cultivation method. Desperately tamed the violent medicinal power rushing around in his body. An hour later, Ji-yun breathed a sigh of relief. Slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were full of fatigue. The meridians were also painfully swollen, like being stretched open from inside. But after internal look at the dantian, he was stunned. A breath in the body gained more than 10 wisps of spiritual energy. Settled there neatly. Pain is pain. Worth it. Wait for the swelling pain in the meridians to fade away slowly. Ji-yun really relaxed. He leaned against the head of the bed, and started calculating the account of these 2 pills in his head. Just speaking of medicine effect, chi gathering pill is indeed fierce. About 5 times the spirit gathering powder. 1 pill tops perhaps a day or two of bitter practice effort. But the problem is also here. The medicine effect is too impulsive. For a disciple who has just joined, the meridians can't hold up at all. If used for a short time, maybe it's just swollen for a day, unable to continue cultivation. But if used for a longer time, might leave hidden injuries. Not worth the gain. Spirit gathering powder is different. The medicine effect is gentle, like small fire slow stewing. After taking it, does not affect continuing cultivation, accumulates slowly like a long stream of water. Although the single effect is not as good as the chi gathering pill, but for a newcomer, this is the safest choice. Moreover, after the newcomer takes the chi gathering pill, that basically counts as wasting a day of cultivation time. But spirit gathering powder still can continue cultivation. There might be a gap in cultivation efficiency, but it shouldn't be much difference. Ji-Yun rubbed his still aching arms. Already had a bottom line. Chi gathering pill. Try to touch less in the future. Spirit gathering powder can be kept ready, but the most urgent thing right now is still to finish the breakthrough to chi refining. He glanced out the window. It is not early. Tomorrow still have to go ask Zhou Changshu about the weapon refining helper matter. By the way, also have to get the red spirit pill. Just thinking. His stomach called out gurgling again. Ji-Yun looked at the sky outside. Looks like he has to go fill his stomach. He turned over and got out of bed, moved his muscles and bones, and headed towards the dining hall. The next day, Ji-Yun was resting in the house. Suddenly heard the courtyard gate being knocked. Coming, he responded, and walked quickly to open the door. Standing outside the door was Zhou Changshu. Ji-Yun's eyes lit up, quickly stepped aside to make way. Senior brother Changshu, please come in. Zhou Changshu didn't be polite with him, stepped into the courtyard, sat down beside the stone table. Ji-Yun scratched his head a bit embarrassed. Senior brother, you see me, even don't have tea and furniture, and can't treat you. Junior brother, it's okay. Zhou Changshu waved his hand. I don't care about these. After some polite exchanges, Zhou Changshu didn't go around in circles, directly stated his intention. Junior brother, I went to ask for you yesterday. The weapon refining workshop is indeed still lacking a few helpers. Ji-Yun became energetic as soon as he heard it. Senior brother, what type of work is it specifically? Smelting waste materials. Is to resmelt the scrapped spirit weapons into raw materials. The salary is 100 contribution points per month. Zhou Changshu paused. As for the requirements, must first learn the fire drawing formula. The weapon refining workshop mainly relies on earth fire. You must be able to draw fire, and control the fire. He changed the conversation, lowered his voice a bit. But although this task is hard, the oil and water are quite a lot. Smelting raw materials definitely have losses. How much loss? How to calculate the rest? You understand the room for operation in this? Ji-Yun blinked, instantly understood. Thinking of the huge room for operation, he couldn't help but click his tongue. Senior brother, like this, is there any problem? Don't worry. Zhou Changshu waved his hand. These are all default rules. As long as you don't overdo it, no one will care. Ji-Yun nodded. The gratitude towards Zhou Changshu in his heart became heavier. He knew. Zhou Changshu said it lightly, but for a job with so much oil and water, must have spent quite a bit of effort to get it down. Owing a favor. A sage judges by deeds not by heart. He doesn't want to guess what Zhou Changshu thinks in his heart, but no matter what, the other party really helped him. Regarding this behavior, Ji-Yun will not ignore. Ji-Yun will not repay this favor. However, at this time, Zhou Changshu sighed. His tone became serious. Junior brother, I helped you strive for 1 month. 1 month later, your cultivation must at least reach chi refining level 1, and the fire drawing formula must at least reach proficient. Otherwise, I can't do anything about it. This condition is actually considered loose. After all, they are recruiting helpers instead of burdens. However, regarding this, Ji-Yun nodded, with a relaxed expression. Don't worry, senior brother. 1 month time. Enough. He wasn't blindly confident. Anyone who can directly enter the outer sect, the spiritual root quality is at least upper grade. Even some are heaven spiritual roots. Breaking through to chi refining level 1 in 1 month basically has no difficulty. Heaven spiritual root can even break through to chi refining level 1 overnight. As for fire drawing formula being introductory, indeed more grinding than improving cultivation, but as long as you are willing to work hard to practice, it is not something difficult to reach the sky. After all, fire drawing formula is only yellow grade lower rank. Not to mention Ji-Yun holds the heaven rewards diligence system as the bottom card. Fire drawing formula introductory. Very easy. In 1 month. Proficient level shouldn't be difficult. That's good. Zhou Changshu looked at his determined appearance, thinking of the other party's comprehension and talent. He also felt much more at ease. After finishing the business, Ji-Yun suddenly looked at Zhou Changshu a bit embarrassed. Zhou Changshu noticed his look, a bit puzzled. Junior brother, what's wrong? Cough. That. Senior brother, can you lend me 80 contribution points? Correct. Ji-Yun pondered for a long time. The fastest way he can think of is borrow money. He wants to gather 80 contribution points by himself. How can it be at least a month? But he is watching, about to rush to chi refining level 1. Red spirit pill. The earlier used, the better. After all, if not using red spirit pill, he will be stuck at chi refining level 1. More or less will waste cultivation time. You want to buy something? Zhou Changshu's eyebrows flicked slightly. Ji-Yun nodded. Fancied something. Okay. Zhou Changshu smiled. Didn't ask much. directly took out the token and transferred 80 contribution points to him. After Ji Yun received the contribution points, his expression became serious, his tone sincere. Thank you, senior brother. I promise. I will definitely return it within 2 months. Don't rush. Return slowly. Zhou Changxiu waved his hand, smiled lightly. He has stayed in the outer sect for so long. He has some savings. After Ji Yun saw Zhou Changxiu off, stood alone in the courtyard, recombed everything from the beginning. There is only one most urgent matter. Breakthrough Qi refining level 1. Whether it is learning fire drawing formula, or taking red spirit pill, the premise must be stepping into Qi refining. Cultivation base not arrived. Can't do anything. My accumulation of spiritual power should be enough. He whispered to himself, turned back to the house, sat cross-legged, sank into cultivation. Internal look at the Dantian. Dozens of wisps of spiritual energy are scattered like stars in various places. Each has its own policy. Ji Yun took a deep breath, operated the metal fire radiance technique, started to lead the spiritual energy around to enter the body. New spiritual energy flowed slowly into the Dantian along the meridians. The original ones also started to be mobilized, but this time, he didn't let the spiritual energy precipitate as usual. Instead, he tried to let them rotate, condense into a cyclone. This is much harder than imagined. Spiritual energy is like a group of wild horses without reins, running around randomly. Ji Yun tried his best to press with intention, to gather, to twist. The first few wisps were barely obedient. It became more and more difficult to control later. Some scattered as soon as they were driven together. Some rotated a few times and returned to dead silence. Others disobeyed and bumped around in the meridians. Bumped his forehead veins jumping, condensing a cyclone. Sounds simple. Only after doing it did he know how grinding it was. But Ji Yun is no pushover. The affinity of the upper-grade spiritual root for spiritual energy is placed there. Every failure, his control over spiritual energy refined by 1 point. Once, twice, 3 times. Gradually, more and more spiritual energy started to be obedient. Just at this time, ding! Congratulations to the host. Metal fire radiance technique proficiency improved. Current progress. Proficient 0.001. The control power brought by the cultivation method breakthrough skyrocketed. Like a key inserted into the lock core. Ji Yun took a deep breath, took advantage of the momentum, twisted all spiritual energy into one rope, forcibly condensed. Cyclone. Done. The spiritual energy vortex rotating slowly in the body, although still immature, but it is already steadily operating. From this moment on, spiritual energy no longer needs him to deliberately lead. Every time the cyclone rotates a circle, new spiritual energy will surge in by itself. Precipitate. Quench. Qi refining level 1. Done. Looking internally at the cyclone rotating slowly in the Dantian, Ji Yun, although tired until his eyelids were fighting, corners of his mouth still couldn't help but curl up slightly. Once the cyclone is formed, spiritual energy begins to operate automatically, flowing all over the body along the meridians. Warm and harmonious, like soaking in warm water. Physical strength also improved a bit. Can't see much right now, but after a long time, this nourishment that is silent and moisturized, the effect should be quite considerable. However, while happy, a question popped up in his heart. Why did the cultivation method suddenly break through to proficient? He clicked on the system panel, flipped through the records. Hosts high difficulty cultivation method. Cultivation method proficiency +5. Looked at a few lines. Ji Yun suddenly realized, condensing the cyclone just now, essentially is operating the cultivation method under extreme conditions. This step of crossing from mortal to cultivator, is one of the few big hurdles before foundation establishment. The difficulty can be imagined. Like the greater the pressure when playing games, the more sophisticated the operation. Facing high difficulty challenges in cultivation. Cultivation method proficiency will also rise faster. So the question comes, since high difficulty cultivation can accelerate proficiency improvement, are there other methods that can also be done? For example, obtaining pointers from others, or obtaining cultivation experience from others. He leaned against the head of the bed, fingers tapping his knees gently. Write down this question first. Explore slowly in the future. The most urgent thing right now, is to quickly recover energy. He still has to practice fire drawing formula, and still have to go exchange for red spirit pill. The road is still long, not in a rush for this moment. Early the next morning, Ji Yun went to the Deacon Hall and Sutra Library to exchange back fire drawing formula and red spirit pill. Newly entered disciples can exchange for a yellow grade lower rank spell for free. Coincidentally, fire drawing formula is yellow grade lower rank. After exchanging the two things back, he didn't hurry to eat the medicinal pill. Instead, he started a campfire in the courtyard first. Cough cough cough. The dense smoke choked his tears flow. Squatted there blowing for a long time. The flame finally sprouted up. Ji Yun stepped back 2 steps, nodded, patted the dust on his hands. Okay, fire is there. Can try fire drawing formula. Fire drawing formula. This spell. He flipped through it 3 times today and introduced it. To be honest, compared to metal fire radiance technique, simpler not by 1 grade. Didn't spend any effort at all. Ji Yun took a deep breath. Hands pinched the spell. Spiritual energy in the body operated according to the specific meridian route. However, the first time using it, control is still very unskilled. Spiritual energy stuck in the fingertips, as if something was blocking it. Could not be used at all. He calmed his mind, and tried it once again. The campfire in front just just jumped slightly, as if perfunctorily dealing with him. Ji-Yun stared at the pile of fire for 2 seconds. His mouth twitched. Alright, I knew it wouldn't be that simple. He continued to try several times. Proficiency did slowly climb up, but every time he pinched the spell it was like pulling his legs in the mud. Couldn't exert strength. Ji-Yun simply extinguished the fire. Took a breath first. He took out the red spirit pill. The bottle cap opened. Looked at it in his palm. The pill is dark red. No medicine fragrance floating out. Looking instead gives people an intuition that this thing is definitely impulsive. After preparing, he took a deep breath, threw the medicinal pill into his mouth, melted in the mouth. Before having time to refine properly, a hot aura exploded from the abdomen, instantly spread to the limbs and bones. Ji-Yun muffled a sound, bit his teeth hard to brace himself. That feeling is like being thrown into a furnace. Fierce fire burned from the bone cracks outward, licked every inch of meridians, flesh, bone marrow. Sweat beads soon soaked his clothes. The whole person is like fished out of water. He trembled with pain, but consciousness was always clear, because he could clearly feel, under this scorching heat, his own body and meridians were strengthening bit by bit, like being reforged again. But the most important thing right now is not these. Ji-Yun bit his teeth, forcibly operated. Metal fire radiance technique, led a portion of scorching medicinal power to the dantian, precisely injected into the slowly rotating cyclone. Puff. The cyclone is like dry wood poured with hot oil, instantly engulfed by flames. The whole dantian seemed to be burning. Severe pain surged like tide. 2 scorching heats simultaneously attacked inside and outside. Ji-Yun couldn't hold on anymore. His body tilted and fell to the ground, panting heavily. Sweat rolled down his cheeks continuously, but he knew in his heart, this bitterness was not suffered in vain. In the fierce fire, spiritual energy is being quenched again and again. Impurities were burned away. Spiritual energy became more and more solid, pure, just like forging iron. Every burning made this device embryo more tenacious by 1 point. Pain is really painful. Worth it is also really worth it. Painful time is always hard to bear. Don't know how long passed. The medicine effect was finally completely retired. Ji-Yun rolled his eyes, almost fainted on the spot, but the tenacity in his bones dragged him back, turned over, panting heavily, like a fish thrown ashore. This feeling, he took a deep breath. The corners of his mouth slowly grinned a smile, just with this soaking whole body at this moment. Gray-faced disheveled look. This smile is a bit strange. Cool. Ji-Yun closed his eyes, feeling the earth-shaking changes in his body. The smile at the corners of his mouth couldn't be pressed down at all. He could clearly feel his own strength solidly jumped up a large section. Current self beating the previous self. 1 can beat 10. This feeling of strength improvement, simply too wonderful. However, before being happy for too long, Ji-Yun looked down at himself. Sweat stains all over. Sticky. Clothes stuck to his body damply. A strange smell. He frowned. This feeling is not comfortable. Dragged his still weak body back to the house. Fumbled for more than half an hour. Washed clean from head to toe. When sitting on the stone chair in the courtyard again, whole body is refreshing, like changing a layer of skin. He moved his fingers, feeling the body state at this moment. Intensity is higher than before by more than 1 grade. Casually picked up a stone on the ground. Gripped hard. Crack. The stone shattered into powder. Fell down from between his fingers. This 80 contribution points. Spent worthily. Of course, the main purpose of buying red spirit pill is not for these. Ji-Yun looked internally at the dantian. Cyclone clearly solidified much more. The surface also faintly reveals a layer of scorching aura. Although the total spiritual energy is less than before, but the quality went up. Each wisp is more pure, and from now on, as long as he practices, new spiritual energy entering the body will be quenched by the cyclone directly, making it more pure. Surprising joy is not without. He glanced at the cultivation method column on the system panel. Cultivation method. Metal fire radiance technique. Proficient 86 1/1000ths. The process of refining red spirit pill just now rose quite a bit of proficiency for the cultivation method in 1 breath. This was not expected. Counts as picked for nothing. Next, Ji-Yun turned his gaze toward the pile of firewood that had long since extinguished. He squatted down to relight the fire. After messing around for a while, the flames finally flared up again. Ji-Yun stared at the leaping flames, took a deep breath, concentrating on operating the fire drawing formula. This time, he clearly felt that he had a trace of elusive control over the flame in front of him. With full concentration, drawing upon the spell. Whoosh! The flame suddenly surged higher by a section, far better than the appearance of jumping twice and then fizzling out before. Progress was more than just a little bit. Ji-Yun released the spell, and glanced at the proficiency panel. Fire drawing formula. Introductory 13 out of 100. Besides the point added just now, there were no other records of jumps, but the difference in effect was visible to the naked eye. Previously, it could only slightly disturb the flames. Now it could directly guide the flames to rise. It seems it was the credit of the improved quality of spiritual energy. With the same amount of spiritual energy, and purer output, the effect naturally could not be mentioned in the same breath. Moreover, after the tempering of the red spirit pill, his spiritual energy even carried a trace of fire attribute characteristics. It was a perfect match for the fire drawing formula. Thinking of this, Ji-Yun's mood improved a bit more. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. He pinched the spell again. His gaze locked onto the flame. Once more, 2 days later, Ji Yun stared at the campfire in front of him with full concentration, hands pinching the spell. With a low shout, "Rise!" Puff! The originally well-behaved flames suddenly expanded, instantly becoming a size larger. For the past 2 days, he had practiced the fire-drawing formula, basically stopping at this step. But today, he wanted to arch forward a bit more. He held his breath, continuing to activate the spell. That mass of flame that originally clung tightly to the firewood, actually started to slowly detach and rise, as if it were being held up by an invisible hand. Ji Yun's eyes grew brighter and brighter, but at the same time, the spiritual energy in his body was consuming rapidly. At the very moment the fire mass completely detached from the firewood. Ding! Congratulations to the host. Fire drawing formula proficiency improved. Current progress. Proficient 0/150. A large amount of realization poured into his mind like a tide, merging with the previous scattered experience. Ji Yun closed his eyes to digest for a moment. When he opened them again, looking at that floating flame, the feeling was completely different. The control power had clearly stepped up a level, at least now making it detach from the firewood. He didn't need to be so focused that he even held his breath. His peripheral vision caught a small pebble beside him. With a thought, he controlled the fire mass to smash over fiercely. With a puff, the pebble was flicked away, and the fire mass extinguished directly, leaving only a scorched mark on the spot. Ji Yun's expression was a bit subtle. Isn't this just a fireball spell? However, he soon shook his head, denying himself. A real fireball spell condenses flames out of thin air, hitting wherever one wants to hit. This of his is at most borrowing fire to hit people, away from the campfire. It's just a decoration. The power is also far behind. Can't even burn a pebble, let alone hitting people. However, Ji Yun touched his chin. At least it counts as a means of attack. Although the limitations are a bit large, having it is better than not having it, he added silently in his heart. However, at least it has reached the proficient level. Ji Yun looked at the proficient 0/150ths on the system panel. The corners of his mouth raised slightly. These 2 days, he had basically risked it all, practicing until his spiritual energy hit the bottom before resting, and continuing once he recovered a little. He didn't sleep at night either, switching to cultivation instead of rest. After 2 days and nights of staying up, he finally crossed this hurdle today. He even felt that if spiritual energy recovered faster, maybe, he could have reached the proficient level in a little over a day. However, thinking carefully, actually, it hasn't been many days, just 2 days, but this speed in the outer sect is already outrageously fast. He had inquired before. Outer disciples of the Profound Serenity Immortal Mansion, wanting to practice the fire drawing formula from introductory to proficient, need at least 10 days or so. Ordinary talent might not even touch the threshold in a month. But he finished in 2 days. If this gets out, the outer sect might explode again. Sayings like genius rising or newcomer monster or something, I'm afraid will be slapped on his head again. As for Ji Yun, he felt that if it weren't for the system's assistance, even if he worked hard again, it would be impossible to be this fast. Overall, he and the system complemented each other. Reaching proficient in 2 days counts as the top tier in the entire outer sect. He was actually quite satisfied in his heart, but didn't show much on his face. After all, he really didn't feel there was anything to this. Looking down at his palm, and looking up at the pile of extinguished campfire, the proficient level fire drawing formula should be able to let him stand firm in the weapon refining workshop. Ji Yun was just about to relight the campfire, to continue to grind proficiency. The courtyard gate was suddenly knocked. He was stunned for a moment, muttering in his heart, who would come to find him at this time? Could it be Zhou Changshu? The only one he really had intersection with in the outer sect was Zhou Changshu. As for that senior brother Su, he is in the inner sect, should not run specifically to find him. Thinking, he had already walked over to open the door. The person standing outside the door made him a bit surprised. Not Zhou Changshu, but indeed he knew her. Senior sister Ning Xia. That's right, it was exactly Ning Xia who lived next door. She was also followed by 3 people. Looks like they came together. Is junior brother busy? Ning Xia is an enthusiastic character. A smile bloomed on her face as soon as they met. No, Ji Yun shook his head. Practicing spells. Strictly speaking, it doesn't count as busy. Notes can be stopped at any time. Ji Yun swept a glance behind Ning Xia. Senior sister, what are you all? 3 people. Temperaments are vastly different. One permeates an air of nobility. One can see at a glance that the origin is extraordinary. One figure is thin, looks quite honest. Another stood there with arms crossed, expression faint, a bit stern. Ning Xia introduced with a smile. These are all outer disciples who entered the sect in the same batch as us, assigned to this courtyard area. Speaking, she reached out and pointed to the young man with outstanding temperament. His name is Enshua, originally a prince of a mortal dynasty. After testing for spiritual roots, was accepted into the sect by the Immortal Mansion. Ji Yun looked at Enshua for 2 extra moments. The other party nodded slightly, expression calm. Ning Xia pointed to the other 2 again. This is Wang Hu. Identity is quite ordinary. Family is a farmer. Wang Hu smiled honestly at him, nodded a bit awkwardly. His name is Jing Yuan. Born in Immortal Kingdom's Qi refining sword cultivation family. Ning Xia paused, lowered her voice by half a degree and added a sentence. Personality is a bit cold. Don't mind. Jing Yuan stood with arms crossed, only glanced at Ji Yun faintly. Didn't speak, didn't smile either. Ji Yun didn't care either. hugged his fist and bowed to the three. Ji Yun, please take care in the future. And Shua bowed in return. The action flowed like water. One can see at a glance that he was well-bred. Wang Hu was stunned for a moment first. Imitated clumsily. Posture stiff, but attitude sincere. Jing Yuan just nodded slightly. Counts as greeting. Ji Yun turned to Ning Xia, a bit puzzled. Senior sister came to find me. Is there something? Junior brother, did you forget? Today is the day the deacon gives lectures. Ji Yun was stunned. His brain clattered for a moment. Remembered it. The profound Serenity Immortal Mansion arranges for deacons to give lectures in the outer sect every 7 days, sharing cultivation insights, answering questions. Several locations in the outer sect give lectures at the same time. Disciples can go if they want. No one forces you. Hiss. Senior sister, if you didn't say it, I would have forgotten. Ji Yun gasped. These few days, he buried his head in practicing fire drawing formula. Practiced until the sky was dark and the earth was dim. Had long ago forgotten this matter to the clouds beyond 9. Ning Xia looked at him like this. Couldn't help but sigh and sigh. Junior brother, why are you so careless? Ji Yun could only laugh dryly to digress. Silently remembered a stroke for himself. He was indeed a bit too careless. After all, the cultivation insights of the foundation establishment stage, for their disciples at the qi refining stage, definitely have great benefits. Ji Yun looked at the few people, asked, so, you all came to invite me to go together? Yes. Ning Xia nodded. Last time we few went together. This time you just entered, so thought of calling you together. Ji Yun smiled. Okay, then let's set off. He had no bad feelings for these few people. Senior sister Ning Xia reminded enthusiastically. And Shua is polite and decent. Wang Hu is honest and honest. Jing Yuan although cold but not to the point of making people dislike. People take the initiative to invite. He naturally won't refuse. The group went out of the courtyard gate, talking and laughing, walking towards the venue where the deacon gave lectures. Along the way, quite a few disciples walked in 2s and 3s in company towards the direction of preaching. Quite lively. Ji Yun talked with them while walking, and roughly figured out their respective situations. And Shua although born a prince, temperament noble, but when speaking, he is humble and polite. Does not have that uncomfortable distance. He is a top-grade triple spiritual root. Fire, water, wood 3 systems. Cultivation has just stepped into Qi refining level 1. Wang Hu is just like his appearance. Honest and honest. Doesn't speak much. The awkwardness when smiling is quite likable. He is an upper-grade dual spiritual root. Gold and earth. Already started cultivation, but still a few steps away from Qi refining level 1. Jing Yuan basically didn't speak much along the way. Occasionally when others asked him, he would hum to count as a response, keeping a distance from everyone. He is an upper-grade gold spiritual root. The realm is the highest among the few. After all, he had contact with cultivation before entering. He has reached Qi refining level 1 for a period of time. Now is trying to rush towards Qi refining level 2. As for Ning Xia, actually quite amazing. Top-grade 5 spiritual roots. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth 5 elements complete. Cultivation is also ranked second among them. Steadily stayed in Qi refining level 1 for a period of time. By the way, Ji Yun, what about you? Ning Xia asked casually. Qi refining level 1. Just broke through not long ago. Words just fell. The eyes of several people looked over uniformly. Eyes all carried unconcealable surprise. And Shua raised his eyebrows slightly. Wang Hu opened his mouth. Even Jing Yuan turned his head to look at him more. Ji Yun is the one who joined last among the few. Logically, now he should be studying cultivation methods. But only a few days. This directly broke into Qi refining. This speed in the outer sect is indeed a bit scary. Ning Xia shook her head. The tone is half sigh half helpless. You are really incomparable. Ji Yun smiled and didn't pick up the words. Junior brother, you couldn't be Earth spiritual root or Heaven spiritual root, right? And Shua couldn't help asking. No. Ji Yun shook his head. Upper grade triple spiritual roots. Hiss. Upper grade triple spiritual roots can reach Qi refining level 1 so fast. Junior brother is really unusual. And Shua clicked his tongue in wonder. Junior brother is really amazing. Wang Hu also followed honestly. Ji Yun waved his hand politely. Didn't say much more. At this time, Ning Xia suddenly lowered her voice. Mysteriously said, speaking of spiritual roots, have you heard? Several people looked over uniformly. Ning Xia chuckled twice. I have some connections. Heard. Among our batch of disciples, there is a very special, exotic spiritual root. Special. How special can it be? And Shua didn't take it seriously. Exotic spiritual roots although rare, but profound Serenity Immortal Mansion as the overlord of the eastern region. What exotic spiritual roots haven't been received? Heard. Ning Xia articulated word by word. It is void spiritual root. Ji Yun was stunned. His heart clattered. This, could it be me? And Shua gasped fiercely. His eyes widened a circle. Even Jing Yuan, who had always been expressionless, couldn't help but cast his gaze. Only Ji Yun and Wang Hu looked at each other, ridden with what does it mean on their faces. Both are people without background, really don't understand these rare things. However, looking at the expression of Shua and Ning Xia that was shocked to speechlessness, Ji Yun couldn't help but mumble in his heart. Previously when senior brother Su heard the 3 words void spiritual root, he had the same reaction. Could it be that this thing really has some extraordinary special points? Seeming to have noticed the confusion of Ji Yun and Wang Hu, Ning Xia smiled and opened her mouth. Void spiritual root can be said to be the strongest among all exotic spiritual roots, and the most rare existence. The entire Azure Cloud realm, since the beginning, has only appeared twice. Ji Yun heard this. His heart jumped fiercely. How long is the history of the Azure Cloud realm? I'm afraid even those deity transformation ancestors don't know. As a result, it appeared twice in such a long span of time. This probability, simply low to outrageously. Ning Xia continued to talk down the senior who appeared the first time. Ancient books have no records, only know that he was a loose cultivator, but suppressed an era. Pity that in the end. Don't know why he fell. As for the second one, she paused. That is the famous Wuya Daoist 100,000 years ago. And Shua took over the topic, with a hint of respect in his tone. Wuya Daoist can be said to be a generation of monsters. Heard, his spiritual root was only middle grade single spiritual root, but still suppressed an era. What heaven spiritual root, earth spiritual root, sword Dao monster, spell genius, all were his defeated subordinates. Finally even broke the void, ascended. There are rumors that he left a heritage in the Azure Cloud sect. Pity, 70,000 years ago the Azure Cloud sect was destroyed. That heritage also disappeared with it. He sighed. Now that void spiritual root has appeared again. Don't know if it will give birth to another monster who suppresses all heavenly pride. Listening to their chatting one by one, Ji Yun's face felt a bit hot for no reason, not for anything else. The peerless monster in their mouths who suppresses all heavenly pride, is standing in the middle of them at this moment. The cultivation is only at Qi refining level 1. The pocket also owes a foreign debt of 80 contribution points. This contrast is really a bit unable to hold up. Fortunately, as they chatted, they had already arrived in front of a huge dojo. Ahead is a large hall, crowded with people at the door. Quite a few disciples are surging inside. Go go go. Hurry up and occupy a good seat. Ning Xia greeted. First ran into the hall door. Ji Yun and Anshua looked at each other, also accelerated their steps. Only after entering the hall did they find the space inside was extraordinarily open. The ground was laid with mats, neat and orderly, a bit similar to the assembly hall Ji Yun had seen in his previous life. Several people picked a position in the front to sit down. Ji Yun looked around, not to mention other things. Quite a few disciples around had thick breath. The realm was clearly more than one level higher than theirs. Ning Xia suddenly lowered her voice, pouted in a direction. Over there, see, that is senior sister Han Ningqing. Cultivation is Qi refining level 8. Earth grade dual spiritual roots. And there is also an ice spiritual root among the exotic spiritual roots. 3 years later, the outer sect competition. She is one of the popular candidates. Ji Yun looked over following her gaze. In the front position, sat a woman. Her posture was cold. Her eyebrows were painted. The whole person permeated an aura like cold plum pride snow, with an invisible cold air around her, making people unconsciously want to stay away. In fact, it is indeed so. The few mats around her were all empty. No one dared to sit. Ji Yun looked twice more, silently remembered this name. Outer sect competition is a major competition held every 5 years by the sect. Outer disciples can all sign up. Previously that senior brother Su was promoted directly to the inner sect through the outer sect competition, and the rewards of the outer sect competition were also extremely generous. Top 10, directly recommended to the inner sect, can also choose the peak gate to worship. Those with good luck will even be noticed by peak masters or elders of various peaks, directly accepted as personal disciples. Top 50, free reward for foundation establishment pill, paving the way for future breakthrough to foundation establishment. Top 100, also have contribution points to get, counts as a comfort. And this senior sister Han Ningqing, she has an ice spiritual root of earth spiritual root level. The absolute genius in the outer sect, is a popular candidate for the top 10 in the next competition. Many people even feel she has a chance to win the championship directly. Another one. Ning Xia lowered her voice, with a bit of excitement in her tone. Ji Yun looked in the direction she pointed. A man carrying a sword was striding in, with a sharp aura, like a walking sword edge. One can tell at a glance that he is not a good person to deal with. This is Zhuo Xiangjuan, Qi refining level 8, heaven grade gold spiritual root, specializes in swordsmanship, year-round accepts tasks of eradicating monsters in barren mountains. Actual combat experience is full, also a popular candidate for the top 10 in the outer sect competition, also has the qualification to win the championship. Ning Xia paused, and added a sentence. They are both those who joined 5 years ago. In the competition 2 years ago, they had already achieved good rankings in the outer sect competition. At that time, it was just because their cultivation was still a bit short, couldn't squeeze into the top 10. This time it is estimated to be aimed at the top 10. If the luck is good, maybe directly noticed by the elders, accepted as personal disciples. She finally muttered in a low voice, but didn't expect. Today they actually both came to listen to the lecture. This level of outer disciples, generally are not just burying their heads in cultivation or preparing for the competition. This kind of fairy fight game, is still too far from him. Zhuo Xiangjuan walked in, picked a seat at random. Not long after, a golden light flashed over everyone's heads. There was already a figure on the high platform. The woman's skin was like ice and bones, eyebrows like distant mountains containing black, exuding a heroic and clean aura. Ah, today it is actually Deacon Yusheng giving a lecture. Ning Xia whispered. No wonder those two came. As soon as the words were spoken, several gazes around fell uniformly on her. What's wrong? Ningxia shrank her neck. How come you know everything? Ji Yun couldn't help but speak, asking the common question of everyone present. You are not in the same batch of newcomers as us. Ningxia felt a little embarrassed and touched her head, explained, I am this kind of person, just like to inquire about some gossip. After entering the sect, accidentally joined a small group specializing in exchanging information, so I know quite a lot. Ji Yun and the others looked at each other. The expressions were even stranger. No, is this right? Just because she is too fond of gossip, so joined an information organization, although most of them are trivial gossip, but listening to what she means, she also got quite a few serious messages. Several people for a moment didn't know what to say about her. Cough. Forget it. First introduce this deacon. And Shua coughed, pulled the topic back. Ning Xia was instantly spirited, spoke at high speed. Deacon Yusheng actually doesn't have anything special, mainly her cultivation, foundation establishment peak, and the content she lectures, for us newcomers, is very helpful. Therefore, every time she comes to lecture, there are a lot of people. Actually with her cultivation, there is no need to be a deacon at all, even come to the outer sect to lecture. But this seems to be her hobby, so she occasionally comes once. Our luck today is really good. While Ji Yun and the others were talking, Deacon Yusheng had already sat on the high platform. Her gaze swept over the crowd below the platform. The voice speaking was not loud, but clearly transmitted to everyone's ears in the venue. Today, we are talking about the foundation of cultivation, spiritual energy, the foundation of heaven and earth, the beginning of all things. The voice seemed to carry a certain Tao rhyme. In an instant, it made people sink in. Ji Yun is no exception. The originally vague cultivation questions in his brain, listening and listening, they became clear. The more he listened, the more excited he became. His whole person was firmly sucked by something, completely immersed in it. Just listening intently, a prompt suddenly popped out, interrupting his state. Congratulations to the host for obtaining pointers. Metal Fire Radiance Technique. Proficiency plus 50. Ji Yun was stunned. Immediately a surge of secret joy surged in his heart. Sure enough, it was as he thought. Sure enough, other channels can also accelerate the improvement of cultivation method proficiency. He quickly settled his mind, and re-immersed into Deacon Yusheng's narration. The subsequent content is also extremely precious. He must not miss it. Lecture like a spring. Voice entering the heart. The venue was silent for a moment. Everyone was immersed in Yusheng's narration, like being held by an invisible hand, following the lecture sound slowly climbing. Suddenly, a spiritual energy vortex appeared out of thin air in a place under the platform. Small spiritual energy like silk-like wisps, rotating and spitting around a disciple. Yusheng's gaze moved slightly, casually hit a spiritual light, gently covered the disciple and the surrounding half-foot space. Avoid spiritual energy fluctuations from disturbing others. The breath on the disciple's body rose, steadily broke through the bottleneck. From Qi refining level 2 to level 3, similar situations happened one after another in the following stick of incense. Someone jumped from level 3 to level 4. Someone touched the threshold of level 5 from level 4. Even a disciple who had been stuck in Qi refining level 5 for a long time borrowed the power of the lecture to rush to level 6 in one breath. Every breakthrough was accompanied by a short spiritual energy fluctuation, but Yusheng could always take action in time, control the influence to the smallest range. The venue of 300 people. Every breakthrough was like a stone thrown into still water, stirred up a low commotion. But soon, the commotion was suppressed by the new round of lecture sound. Even the Jing Yuan beside Ji Yun, his breath was also surging, then climbed steadily by one level. From Qi refining level 1, stepped into level 2. However, Ji Yun and the others didn't know anything about Jing Yuan's fluctuation. Everyone was still immersed in Yusheng's lecture sound, couldn't take care of things outside the body at all. An hour later, the lecture sound stopped abruptly. The disciples in the venue seemed to be awakened at the same time. Someone smacked their lips unfulfilled. Someone was full of surprise. Clearly the harvest was not small, and Ji Yun was also the first one to wake up. But the first thing he did was to quickly summon the system panel. Cultivation method. Metal Fire Radiance Technique. Proficient 248/1000. Hiss. Ji Yun gasped. An hour. Directly rose more than 200 proficiency points. If this could be heard every day, afraid it wouldn't take 5 days to rush to mastered. Of course, he also knows clearly. Deacon Yusheng's foundation establishment peak cultivation is there. The quality of the lecture is naturally high, but even if it was changed to an ordinary deacon, wouldn't he be able to grind to mastered slowly by listening a few more times? Pity. Lecture is only once every 7 days. Wanting to listen every day, there is no door. As expected of Deacon Yusheng, listen to her lecture once. I feel that it is a big step closer to Qi refining level 2. Ning Xia opened her eyes. The tone is excited, but she soon noticed Jing Yuan beside her, surprised and said, Yuan big brother, you broke through to Qi refining level 2. Jing Yuan nodded, although his eyes carried a bit of joy, but he still said it concisely. And Shua looked at him, with a smile of teasing. Jing Yuan, although I hadn't come into contact with cultivation methods before, temporarily fell behind you, but you also don't relax. Don't let me easily catch up. Wang Hu touched his head honestly, and mumbled a congratulations, and then awkwardly added with a smile, I feel that my understanding of the cultivation method is more thorough. Won't take long to break through through to Qi Refining Level 1. Ji Yun also nodded at Jing Yuan, smiled and congratulated him. Lecture ended. Deacon Yusheng didn't stay too long. The next moment she had turned into a ray of escape light and broke through the air. This means made Ji Yun click his tongue in wonder, thinking secretly in his heart, I must also be so stylish in the future. The deacon left. Everyone in the hall also dispersed. Ji Yun was still walking with Ning Xia and the others, talking and laughing along the way. Soon returned to the courtyard. Ji Yun stood in front of his residence. Ning Xia turned to look at him, asked casually, are you coming with us 7 days later? Of course. Ji Yun nodded, answered crisply, such a good opportunity to brush proficiency, how could he miss it? That's okay. Come find you after 7 days. Ning Xia waved, pushed the door and entered the courtyard next door. And Shua, Wang Hu, Jing Yuan also walked towards their respective residences, pushed open the courtyard gate. Inside is still the old appearance. That pile of campfire on the ground had long extinguished, leaving a pile of ashes. Ji Yun sat by the stone table, stared at the pile of ashes in a daze for a while. His brain flipped back and forth about one thing, the errand at the weapon refining workshop. Should he go find Zhou Changshu now? Tell him that fire drawing formula has already been practiced. If not said, continue to bury his head in practicing until the end of the month. Stable, but wasted more than 20 days. If said, then it is equivalent to telling others clearly, I practiced fire drawing formula in a few days. The name of genius is settled. Attention is also indispensable. But the problem is, thinking for a few seconds, Ji Yun suddenly sat up straight. His gaze suddenly became clear. No, the problem seems to be not that big. He was poisoned by the web novels of his previous life. The protagonists in those novels dare not expose their talent, either because the sect is too small. 1 or 2 geniuses are considered rare. Protagonists like this kind of existence beyond the standard are easily targeted, or there are other treasures on them, afraid of being coveted by others. But what place is the profound Serenity Immortal Mansion? Top major sect of the Eastern region. There are only 5 sects of this level in the entire Azure Cloud realm. There are deity transformation ancestors guarding the sect. What geniuses haven't they seen? As long as you are not the outrageous level of rushing from Qi Refining to Foundation establishment in one night, who cares about moving you? Ji Yun is at best a little higher in comprehension. Moreover, the sect already knew about the void spiritual root. The attention was already quite a lot. Not bad for his bit. As for having treasures on his body, can they detect the system? Ji Yun really isn't afraid. Thinking through this layer, he stood up, patted the dust on his clothes. Go find Zhou Changshu right now. Expose if it should be exposed, not hiding. Besides, when stepping out of the room, Ji Yun didn't even notice. The corners of his mouth had already curled up. Hiding, slinking, never was his style. Spent a while. Ji Yun found Zhou Changshu, and told him his situation. So what you mean is, after you finished looking for me, you broke through to Qi Refining Level 1 within 3 days, and conveniently practiced the fire drawing formula to the proficient level. After hearing Ji Yun's statement, the sound contained obvious suspicion. Ji Yun nodded honestly. Yes. Zhou Changshu took a deep breath, tried hard to calm himself down. Okay, let me see your fire drawing formula. He raised his hand and cast a spell. A flame ignited in his palm. Ji Yun didn't be ambiguous. Pinched the spell. Fire drawing formula activated at the sound. The next moment, the flame in Zhou Changshu's palm seemed to have been pulled by someone, directly detached from his control, circling nimbly around Ji Yun. Zhou Changshu was silent. He stared at that obedient flame for 2 seconds. The last sliver of luck in his heart also completely fell to the ground. Zhou Changshu stared at Ji Yun for a long while, finally sighed. Junior brother, your talent is really rare in a lifetime. He shook his head, didn't think much anymore. The corners of his mouth hung with that familiar gentle smile again. Okay, since junior brother, you have already met the standard, then I will take you to the weapon refining workshop now. After speaking, turned around and led the way in front. Spent some time. Zhou Changshu led Ji Yun to a mountain foot of the outer sect, surrounded by several mountain peaks. A flat ground recessed in the middle. Arrived. Zhou Changshu raised his chin. Ji Yun walked 2 steps forward, saw a gray-white building from afar. Before walking close, a scorching heat wave had already rushed towards his face. The air carried the smell of charcoal and metal, followed by the sound of beating iron mixed with the low sound of bellows, poured out from the workshop. Is this the weapon refining workshop? Ji Yun asked. Zhou Changshu nodded, pushed the door and walked in. Entering the door, the heat wave was even thicker, stuffy like drilling into a steamer. Several disciples with bare backs were swinging hammers at the red-hot iron billets. Sparks splashed. On the side there were people squatting in front of the melting furnace, flipping something with long tongs. Sweat beads flowed down the spine. The whole workshop was noisy and busy. Talking basically depended on roaring. The air permeated a kind of coarse fireworks aura. Go this way. Zhou Changshu turned sideways to avoid a team of disciples carrying mineral stones. Brought Ji Yun to the inner room. At this moment, in a quiet room deep in the weapon refining workshop, Huang Ting was cultivating with eyes closed. A knocking sound suddenly came from outside the door. Senior brother Huang. It's me. Huang Ting opened his eyes. A trace of doubt flashed in his eyes. Zhou Changshu, what is he doing here? He got up and opened the door. Standing outside the door was indeed Zhou Changshu. Old Zhou, what's the matter? Something again. Senior brother Huang. Huang, didn't I mention to you before? I have a junior brother who wants to come to the weapon refining workshop to work as a helper. Oh, that matter. Huang Ting nodded knowingly, then frowned. Didn't you say that is a newcomer? Need 1 month. Why come now? Thinking the deadline is too short. No. Senior brother misunderstood. Zhou Changshu shook his head hurriedly, stepped aside to let out Ji Yun behind him. It's my junior brother whose conditions have been met, so I brought him directly. Huang Ting was stunned for a moment. Zhou Changshu clearly had told him before. This junior brother is a newcomer just in contact with cultivation. As a result, now tell him. The conditions given by himself, the other party all achieved. His gaze fell on Ji Yun. Ji Yun was also examining this senior brother Huang. Tall figure, muscles solid. One look is a fierce person who deals with iron hammers year-round. More importantly, the pressure emitted by Huang Ting was a section stronger than Zhou Changshu. Ji Yun hugged his fist. Senior brother Huang. Huang Ting scanned him up and down, turned his head to look at Zhou Changshu. Is this kid really the junior brother you said? Qi refining level 1 in a few days, and practiced fire drawing formula to proficient. Even if fire drawing formula is not a profound spell, this speed is too outrageous. Zhou Changshu shook his head helplessly. Senior brother Huang, I was as shocked as you before. Huang Ting looked at Ji Yun again, didn't ask more. Okay, follow me. Whether it is the original one or not, actually doesn't matter. Anyway, he only leaves one position for the other party, as long as the other party meets the conditions. Huang Ting led them through the corridor, pushed open a thick wooden door. The room was piled with all kinds of scrapped spirit weapons, broken swords, residual armor, cracked furnace tripods, stacked crookedly in the corners of the wall. Several people were squatting in front of the earth fire mouth, focusing on melting the waste materials in their hands. The whole room permeated with rust and burnt smell. Seeing Huang Ting come in, several people raised their heads and greeted. Senior brother Huang. Huang Ting is the manager here. Number 1 person under the deacon. Prestige is enough. He nodded, didn't say much, walked straight to a forging table with Ji Yun and Zhou Changshu. A bent and deformed long sword was lying across the stage. The sword body was cracked, clearly a substandard product that was refined to waste. Huang Ting pointed to the sword. Come on, use fire drawing formula to draw earth fire. Melt this sword, separate the raw materials inside. Ji Yun took a deep breath, walked to the earth fire mouth. He knew, this is testing his real skill. Zhou Changshu reached out and patted Ji Yun on the shoulder. Come on, I believe in you. Ji Yun's corners of the mouth raised slightly. Rest assured, senior brother. He walked to the forging table. His gaze fell on the furnace behind the table. The furnace wall was thick and heavy, and a dark red light shone through the cracks. A mass of energy, rich enough to almost condense into substance, surged within the furnace, churning, like a imprisoned beast. Earth fire. A Qi refining stage cultivator's internal spiritual energy is insufficient. Therefore, whether refining weapons or alchemy, one needs the assistance of earth fire. Ji Yun took a deep breath, raised his hand, and slowly pinched the fire drawing formula. The restriction at the bottom of the furnace loosened slightly. A wisp of earth fire surged up along the fire mouth under the forging table. It was not the leaping warm yellow of a campfire, but a scorching white, tinged with blue, underground fire. Just being close made one's skin feel tight, completely different from when practicing before. A campfire is as tame as a cat. It comes when you wave your hand, but earth fire is like a beast just released from a cage, temperamental, scalding hot, and will backlash if one is not careful. Ji Yun was fully focused, his hands constantly changing spell gestures. Spiritual energy seeped out from his fingertips, like countless invisible threads, attempting to entangle that manic mass of flames. The first wisp of spiritual energy had just touched the earth fire, when it was almost scorched and dissipated. Sweat oozed from Ji Yun's forehead. He hurriedly supplemented with more spiritual energy, wrapping the tongue of flame layer by layer, slowly guiding it toward the bent long sword on the table. Hiss! The moment the flame licked onto the sword body, the inferior iron material immediately turned red, softened, and the surface began to melt. Ji Yun dared not be distracted, controlling the fire heat tightly. Too intense and the good material would be burned to waste. Too weak and it wouldn't separate cleanly. He adjusted the spiritual energy output bit by bit, letting the earth fire evenly wrap around the sword body, observing the melting speed of different parts. The sword hilt softened first. The copper material melted into golden red droplets, slowly flowing into the first collection groove along the table groove. Ji Yun quickly divided his spiritual energy to gather the copper liquid still dripping down, not letting it splash into other grooves. Next was the sword body. The mixture of dark iron and ordinary iron material began to separate. Dark iron has a high melting point, and still maintained a semi-solid state, while the ordinary iron material had already melted into silvery white molten iron. Ji Yun gritted his teeth. Almost all his spiritual energy was poured into the fire drawing formula, directly aiming the earth fire precisely at the ordinary iron material, stripping them bit by bit from the dark iron. Sweat dripped down his chin, vaporizing into white steam on the table. Beside the forging table, Huang Ting stood with arms crossed, his gaze never moved away. Zhou Changshu clenched his fists, more nervous than Ji Yun. About a stick of incense later, the long sword completely disappeared. The collection groove contained a small piece of copper essence, a small mass of iron material, and a grain of dark iron the size of a fingernail. The amount was not much, but it was separated cleanly. Copper is copper. Iron is iron. Dark iron was in separate grains, without mixing. Ji Yun slowly released the spell. The earth fire retreated back into the furnace along the fire mouth. Only then did he realize his back was completely soaked, his arms slightly trembling, as if he had just finished a tough battle. Not bad. Huang Ting's voice came from behind. No much emotion could be heard, but there was no nitpicking either. Zhou Changshu quietly breathed a sigh of relief, and made a mouth gesture to Ji Yun. It's stable. Huang Ting walked to the forging table, picked up the small piece of copper essence Ji Yun had melted, and examined it in his fingers for a moment. His face didn't have much ripple, but actually he was a little surprised in his heart. The raw material purity was not low, and the loss was also low. For a helper who was handling it for the first time, it was truly rare. Under normal circumstances, newcomers mostly fail in their first or second attempts. Even if they barely succeed, the finished products are often rough and mixed. To be able to do it to this degree on the first try is indeed rare. He looked up at Ji Yun. The teenager's face was pale, sweat still hung on his forehead. His aura was obviously much more hollow. Cultivation base is too low. Huang Ting put down the copper essence. The tone was not heavy, but it could be heard that it was the truth. Spiritual power is just that little. Melt once and you hit the bottom. Later when work piles up, you won't be able to hold on. Don't fall behind in cultivation. Raise your cultivation base. Everything will be easier to do. Ji Yun bowed and performed a salute. Thank you, senior brother, for the teaching. Huang Ting waved his hand, and said no more. Alright, from today on, you are officially a helper in my weapon refining workshop. Report at Chen hour tomorrow. After speaking, he turned and left. With clean steps, Zhou Changshu walked over, smiling and patting Ji Yun on the shoulder. Congratulations, junior brother, senior brother, and thank you for your help. It's nothing. Zhou Changshu shook his head. If you don't work hard yourself, you wouldn't get senior brother Huang's recognition either. Ji Yun smiled, looking at him seriously. But no matter what, I should thank you. Why be so polite? Zhou Changshu patted his arm. By the way, that 80 contribution points lent to you. No hurry to return. You stabilize your work first. Senior brother, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. Ji Yun nodded. Zhou Changshu moved closer, and lowered his voice. Senior brother Huang looks fierce. Actually quite easy to talk to. He is willing to point you a few words. It means he has already accepted you. He paused, and added a sentence. But you, don't expect him to give you any special care. The manager of the weapon refining workshop is most particular about rules. If the work is done well, he has nothing to say. If it is not done well, he will not go easy on you just because you are a newcomer. Ji Yun nodded. Noting these words, the two walked out side by side, passing through the clanking forging rooms. The heat wave gradually moved away, and breathing also became smoother. By the way, Zhou Changshu suddenly remembered something. After you, it is best to get a copy from the manager here. Identification of basic weapon refining materials, and detailed rules for earth fire usage. These two booklets will be helpful for you to work in the weapon refining workshop. Inside are written the melting points and characteristics of common materials, how to control earth fire, how to adjust fire heat, are all explained in great detail. Hearing this, Ji Yun nodded, keeping these in mind. Walking out of the main gate of the weapon refining workshop, it was already evening. The clouds on the horizon were dyed orange-red. The outlines of several mountain peaks in the distance seemed particularly quiet in the twilight. Alright, go back and rest. Zhou Changshu stretched. Today was enough to tire you out. Don't be late at Chen hour tomorrow. Senior brother Huang hates people waiting the most. Ji Yun responded, and walked along the mountain road towards his own small courtyard. When passing the dining hall, his steps paused slightly. He touched his stomach. Truly hungry. Spiritual energy hit bottom today. The body was also like being hollowed out. Urgently need to replenish. After spending some time to be full and satisfied, Ji Yun returned to the courtyard, pushed open the courtyard gate. That pile of extinguished campfire was still lying quietly on the ground. Ji Yun was not in a hurry to clean up. Instead, went back to the room to change into a dry set of clothes, and drank 2 big bowls of cold water. Only then felt like he lived again. He sat cross-legged on the bed, not in a hurry to cultivate. Instead, closed his eyes to rest his mind. Let his thoughts calm down slowly. The things that happened today were reviewed in his brain, from lecture to breakthrough, from finding Zhou Changshu to verifying at the weapon refining workshop. Several things were handled within one day, but he knew in his heart, the real challenge starts from tomorrow. Report to the weapon refining workshop on time every day. Complete tasks to earn contribution points. At the same time, cultivation cannot be left behind. Strive for an early breakthrough to Qi refining level 2. And, he still owes Zhou Changshu 80 contribution points. This debt must be repaid early. Otherwise, there is always something on his mind. Thoughts gradually calmed down. The cyclone in the Dantian rotated slowly, Spiritual energy grew wisps by wisps, while supplementing the consumption during the day. Constantly practicing, every wisp of spiritual energy that enters the Dantian will be encompassed by the Dantian cyclone, then scorched, tempered, making this wisp of spiritual energy even more pure. Senior brother Huang said today that his cultivation was too low. This is not false. The spiritual energy storage of Qi refining level 1 is indeed not enough to look at. Must find a way to upgrade to Qi refining level 2 as soon as possible. Lecture can brush proficiency. High proficiency also leads to high cultivation efficiency. This is a virtuous cycle. The next lecture in 7 days. He must also go. The next day, before dawn, Ji Yun stopped cultivation. Perhaps it is the effect of red spirit pill tempering the physique. Ji Yun since eating the red spirit pill, the meridians in his body are the same as those senior brothers and sisters. Never feeling swollen pain because of cultivation anymore. This is a good thing. He finished washing, started a pile of campfire in the courtyard, practiced fire drawing formula for half an hour. Flames soared in his hands, swirling, shrinking, expanding, although not as violent as earth fire, but the manipulation has already flowed like water, without any sense of stagnation. Proficient level fire drawing formula is enough to cope with simple fire control tasks. The sky was bright. He changed into a clean outer sect disciple suit, put the disciple token on, locked the courtyard gate, walked towards the weapon refining workshop. Morning light spilled on the mountain road, drawing his shadow very long. Today is his first day of officially working in the weapon refining workshop. Ji Yun arrived early. There were not many people in the weapon refining workshop yet. The huge furnace was silent in the morning light. The air retained the lingering warmth of last night. He found the forging table he used yesterday, cleaned up the gray slag on the table, and returned the collection groove to its position. After doing these, Huang Ting hadn't come yet. He sat cross-legged beside the table, closed his eyes to rest his mind. By the way, operated the cultivation method, letting spiritual energy accumulate continuously. About a stick of incense time. Footsteps came from outside the door. Huang Ting pushed the door and entered. Seeing Ji Yun already waiting in front of the forging table, nodded slightly, didn't say anything, walked straight to the manager's room in the inner room. Not long after, several old helpers arrived one after another. Each walked to their own forging table, skilled in drawing earth fire, started a day's work. Huang Ting came out of the manager's room, holding a list in his hand, walked to Ji Yun. Your task for today. He handed over the list. Melt these 3 pieces of waste. Copper material must be separated alone. Dark iron and ordinary iron material collected separately. Don't mix them together. Find me after finishing. I will send you new ones. Ji Yun took the list. On it were simple diagrams and annotations of 3 waste spirit weapons, a broken sword, a cracked heart protecting mirror, a deformed furnace ear. Beside noted the approximate content and melting point of each material. Understood. Ji Yun responded. Huang Ting turned and left. Ji Yun spread the list on the table. First picked up the broken sword, looked at it carefully in front of his eyes. Under the rust, the texture during forging could be vaguely seen. There were some copper inlays at the sword edge, similar to the long sword yesterday, but the structure was more complex. He first went through the steps of melting in his brain, only then activated the fire drawing formula, carefully drawing earth fire from the furnace. The scorching white tongue of flame licked the broken sword. The copper inlay part melted first. Golden red droplets flowed into the first collection groove along the groove. Ji Yun stabilized the spiritual energy output, gathered the copper liquid, not letting it splash elsewhere. After the copper material was collected, he adjusted the fire heat, concentrated the earth fire on the iron material part, let the ordinary iron material and dark iron slowly separate. Everything went very smoothly, until the 3rd piece, that deformed furnace ear. The furnace ear is not a single metal, but a composite structure of copper and iron interlaced, layer by layer. In the middle also mixed with a layer of unknown gray-white material. Ji Yun's earth fire just roasted on it. Copper and iron started to melt, but that layer of gray-white thing remained motionless. Instead, it gave off a pungent thick smoke. Ji Yun's heart sank. He hurriedly shrank the fire, but that layer of material had already been destroyed by high temperature, melted into the copper and iron liquid. The originally clear metal liquid became turbid, permeating a grey-defeated color. Huang Ting didn't know when he had walked behind him, looked at the miserable scene on the table. Tone was flat. That layer is a mixture of mica powder and asbestos. High temperature resistant. Insulates heat conduction. Used to divide layer temperature control during weapon refining. When you encounter this material, must first peel it off physically. Cannot directly put fire. He picked up the furnace ear remnant, clamped it with tongs, tapped gently on an anvil a few times. The gray-white interlayer shattered and fell off, exposing the clean metal underneath. Do it again. Don't burn it. Mixed again this time. Ji Yun nodded, drew fire and started again. Having the lesson of the first time, he was extra careful this time. First pried off the mica interlayer on the furnace ear piece by piece. After confirming that the metal layer was completely exposed, only then drew fire to melt, although it took another half an hour. But the finally collected copper material and iron material were clean, without impurities. Huang Ting looked at the collection groove, neither praised nor scolded, checked on the list, and handed over 3 new waste pieces. After a day, Ji Yun melted 9 pieces of waste in total. The first 2 were smooth, the third one stumbled, the following few were stumbling, but at least didn't make a big mistake again. When finishing, finishing work. His spiritual energy had bottomed out several times. Both arms were too sore to be lifted. The back was all dried sweat stains. Huang Ting finished watching the last groove of raw materials, wrote a few strokes in the record book, looked up and said to Ji Yun, "Today's work, done well. The one that was melted. The loss is deducted from you. Pay attention tomorrow." Ji Yun nodded. A molten spirit weapon. The deducted contribution points will not be much. He dragged his exhausted body out of the weapon refining workshop. The sky was already dark. A blast of evening wind. The whole body was sore and refreshing. Returned to the courtyard. He first filled his stomach with water, then sat cross-legged on the bed and operated the cultivation method, using spiritual energy to nourish the sore muscles and meridians. Cyclone rotated slowly. Wisps of spiritual energy seeped out from the dantian, flowing all over the limbs and bones. An hour later, he opened his eyes, felt much better, summoned the system panel and took a look. Cultivation method. Metal fire radiance technique. Proficient 263/1000. Also rose 15 points in today's cultivation. Not bad. The next day, Ji Yun arrived at the weapon refining workshop half an hour early. He found the miscellaneous room where materials were kept, borrowed a copy of Identification of Basic Weapon Refining Materials, flipped a few pages during the break before work, and recorded the mica powder and asbestos mixture that caused him to stumble yesterday. Chen hour. Huang Ting appeared on time, handed over a new list. Today Ji Yun melted 11 waste pieces in total. No big mistakes. Only 2 pieces took more time due to complex interlayers. When finishing work, Ji Yun collected the deducted materials, only then left. The third day, 8 pieces. Huang Ting gave a new task. Let him learn to pile the melted raw materials by grade. Ji Yun followed suit. When classifying, he compared with the descriptions in the material identification, divided dark iron into upper, middle, and lower grades according to purity. Copper and iron materials were also classified respectively. The fourth day, Ji Yun was squatting in front of the earth fire mouth handling a heavily rusted armor piece. Huang Ting walked over, threw him a small booklet. Basic fire control formula. More detailed than fire drawing formula. Suitable for your work now. Contribution points will be deducted slowly from your contribution points. Ji Yun took it and flipped through. Much more complex than fire drawing formula. Taught the switching of different fire power gears, fine-tuning of flame form, and how to use spiritual energy to perceive the critical point of material melting. He studied it for an hour that night. System jumped several prompts. Understanding reached 100%. The fifth day, he started trying to use basic fire control formula to replace fire drawing formula for operation. Not very skilled at first. Flames were sometimes big, sometimes small. Almost burned the material too much several times. But after every melting of a piece, the system's +1 rang on time. New realizations poured in continuously. The manipulation also became more and more stable. By the 6th day, he could already accurately distinguish 2 iron materials with close melting points using fire control formula. The progress speed cannot be said not to be fast. After all, in the weapon refining workshop, the least lacking is actual practice. The 7th day, day of preaching, Ning Xia came to knock on his door early in the morning. "Junior brother, are you going today?" "Go." Ji Yun locked the courtyard gate, followed them towards the dojo. Preaching today, so he asked for leave yesterday. No need to worry about not going to the weapon refining workshop. Along the way, Anshua was talking about his recent insights on cultivation. Wang Hu excitedly announced that he had touched the threshold of qi refining level 1, probably can break through in another 2 or 3 days. Jing Yuan is still silent, but his steps are much lighter. His breath is also more stable than before. Ji Yun listened to them talking, didn't interject much, but another matter was spinning in his brain. Working in the weapon refining workshop for these few days, he really saw it clearly. The oil and water in this line are much larger than imagined. Among the 4 arts of immortal cultivation, alchemy, weapon refining, talismans, formations, none are simple. But speaking of the matching degree between threshold and income, weapon refining absolutely ranks on the number. And the most suitable spiritual root combination for a weapon refiner is gold and fire dual spiritual roots. Coincidentally, he has them all. If this condition is wasted, he himself feels it is a loss. However, thoughts belong to thoughts. Ji Yun didn't intend to rush up immediately. First, a decent weapon refining cultivation method is expensive. He is now cleaner than his face. Cannot afford to learn if he wants to. Second, low cultivation base is a serious injury. Even melting waste materials is easily drained. Proper weapon refining is even more out of the question. The most urgent matter right now is still to raise his cultivation base. Wait until the middle and late stages of qi refining, and when his hands are wide, it's not too late to think about weapon refining. The road must be walked step by step. Rice must be eaten bite by bite. This principle, he understood in his previous life. By the way, have you all heard? Ning Xia suddenly lowered her voice. A new mineral vein was discovered near the Immortal Mansion. Many miscellaneous disciples were transferred to dig. Oh, what mineral vein? Anshua asked. Not very clear. Seems to be just an ordinary mineral vein. The sect didn't take it much to heart. Ning Xia waved her hand. Then the conversation turned. Her eyes lit up. But I have explosive news here. Tell me. Ji Yun was also hooked. Something that can be described by Ning Xia as explosive. Definitely not trivial matters. Ning Xia looked around. Even raised her hand to use spiritual power. to isolate a small private space, only then lowered her voice. I heard, the sect recently ferreted out a demon sect spy. Demon sect. And Shoa's face changed slightly. Demon sect is a collective term for evil cultivator sects. 1,000 years ago, the 5 major sects of Azure Cloud once fought a great battle with the demon sect. Finally the demon sect was suppressed. A large number of evil cultivators were killed. The world has been peaceful for a whole millennium since then. Now a millennium has passed. The demon sect has actually made a comeback. Ji-Yun frowned. He had seen too many novels in his previous life. This kind of plot of demon sect reappearing was not considered too unexpected, but it feels different when it really happens around him. Since the sect can ferret out a spy, it shows the infiltration of the demon sect. I am afraid it is not just this case. Must be careful when walking inside and outside the sect in the future. How did the sect dispose of it? And Shoa pursued. Ning Xia spread her hands. Specifics I am not clear either. Heard that the person had already been taken away. This kind of thing. The sect will not say too much to the outside. I also heard it from the internal message channel of that gossip group. Ji-Yun nodded. Didn't pursue. The sect has the sect's rules. Such things will indeed not be publicized on the street. He glanced at the dojo gate not far away. Changed the subject. Almost there. Must occupy a good seat today. Ning Xia put away the spiritual power barrier. Several people accelerated their pace. Ji-Yun walked at the very back. Silently remembered this matter of the demon sect spy in his heart. Quite a few people were already sitting in the dojo. Ji-Yun and the others found a position in the front and sat down, waiting for today's preaching to begin. Ji-Yun looked around. Did not see Han Ningqing and Shuxiangjuan. Thinking about it, last time they came mostly because Deacon Yusheng was lecturing, changing to an ordinary deacon. This level of disciples probably wouldn't come. On the mat in front of the main hall, today sits an old man with white hair, face thin, eyes half closed. The whole body's breath is deep like an abyss. Cannot see through. Ji-Yun looked and retracted his gaze. For someone with this kind of cultivation, just looking at it a few times makes him feel terrified in his heart. The old man spoke. The voice was not loud, but carried a kind of indescribable weight. Today I am talking about the essence of spiritual energy operation. Ji-Yun quickly immersed himself. Although the preaching of this old deacon was not as engaging as Deacon Yusheng, but the content was solid, clear logic. Each knowledge point was dismantled in great detail. For a newcomer who just joined, this is the lesson most suitable for laying the foundation. An hour later, the lecture ended. Ji-Yun opened his eyes. The first thing was to summon the system panel. Cultivation method. Metal fire radiance technique. Proficient 451/1000. Almost half less proficiency growth than the last Deacon Yusheng's lecture, but not bad either. Adding the proficiency gained during Ji-Yun's cultivation these 7 days, almost reached 500. At this rate, listen 2 or 3 more times. Can touch the edge of mastered. In a blink of an eye. A month passed. The weather gradually turned cold. It's October. In another month, it will be winter. At this time in previous years, Ji-Yun had to arrange to store food for the winter. Now he doesn't have to worry about this. After immortal cultivation, the cold and warmth of mortals are no longer a problem. Early in the morning, Ji-Yun woke up from cultivation. Internal look at the Dantian. Felt the flow of spiritual energy in his body. Not far from Qi refining level 2. Can cross that threshold in a few days. He casually clicked the system panel. Cultivation method. Metal fire radiance technique. Mastered 1035/5000. More than a week ago, the cultivation method just entered the mastered level. After that, the cultivation speed significantly moved to a higher stage. The pity is, the bonus of Deacon's lecture to proficiency is much less. Only rose a few dozen points after listening to a lecture. Fortunately, mosquito legs are meat. Accumulating little to much is better than nothing. He got up and stretched, packed up, prepared to go to the weapon refining workshop. A month of grinding. He has fully grasped the rhythm of the weapon refining workshop. Go to smelt abandoned spirit weapons on time every day. Occasionally called by senior brother Huang Ting to do some other chores. Not tired. After getting smooth, he still has time to touch fish. What he cares most about is the scraps. Accumulated for a month. Piled up a small half basket. Go to the Deacon Hall to exchange for contribution points on the way back today. Roughly calculated. Plus the contribution points earned by working as a helper this month. Almost can gather 200 contribution points. Not only can pay off senior brother Zhou Changshu's debt, but also can buy another batch of medicinal pills to assist cultivation. Thinking of this, Ji-Yun is full of energy. Once the debt is cleared, every point earned in the future is his own. He accelerated his pace. The morning light spilled on his shoulders, shining on the thin frost on the mountain road, sparkling. This life has something to look forward to. Ji-Yun just walked to the gate of the weapon refining workshop. It was already clanking inside. Yo, junior brother Ji is here. Morning, Ji-Yun. Several familiar senior brothers saw him, greeted casually. After this month, Ji-Yun has become quite familiar with this group of people. Most of these senior brothers are doing sect tasks, coming to the weapon refining workshop to practice crafts for free while earning contribution points. The temper is not bad. Occasionally will point out a few small tips on controlling fire for him. Ji-Yun smiled and returned the greeting one by one. Walked to his own forging table. Several helpers beside nodded at him. Counts as morning greeting. He was just about to flip through today's task list. Huang Ting suddenly walked out from the inner room. You all come over. Ji-Yun and several helpers looked at each other. Looked looking at each other, don't know what happened, but no one asked much, followed in groups of 3 or 5. Huang Ting brought several people to the open space outside, turned around, expression solemn. I have a task here, needs to be handed to you. A senior brother named Fang Hen spoke first. What do we need to do? Senior brother Huang. Huang Ting looked around at several people, then continued, the sect recently discovered a new mineral vein. Miscellaneous disciples were transferred in large numbers, causing several batches of ore nearby to be accumulated over there. Can't be transported over. I need you all to transport one of the batches of ore back. He paused, not working in vain. 100 contribution points per person. Back and forth about a day or two. The journey passes near the barren mountains. Might encounter monsters. A bit troublesome. So I arranged 2 senior brothers at Qi refining level 7 to accompany you. He looked at the sky. Prepare. We'll set off in a while. Fang Hen nodded. Several helpers whispered a few sentences. Ji Yun calculated in his heart. 100 contribution points. Worth more than half a month's helper income. 2/4 of an hour later, Huang Ting led 2 people over. A man and a woman. Breaths are not weak, wearing outer disciple clothes, but the temperament is clearly much more stable than these helpers present. Your next task is to follow these 2 senior brothers and senior sisters. Huang Ting raised his chin towards Ji Yun and them, then turned to the 2. Trouble. The 2 waved their hands. The male senior brother smiled. No trouble. Senior brother Huang. Should be. Ji Yun stood in the crowd, examined the 2 Qi refining level 7 senior brothers and senior sisters without showing any signs. He knew in his heart, this 100 contribution points is not so easy to get. After all, it is possible to hit monsters in the barren mountains. But fortunately, 2 Qi refining level 7 were specifically sent to follow. The safety degree is much greater, even if hitting one that can't be beaten. Can timely drag until the support arrives. Fang Hen stood out, hugged his fist to the 2 senior brothers and senior sisters. Laborious 2 to look after. That senior sister's expression was faint, glanced at everyone, only said 2 words, set off. The group tidied up their gear, followed the 2 Qi refining level 7 senior brothers and senior sisters, walked outside the weapon refining workshop. Ji Yun walked in the middle of the team, looked back at the fading weapon refining workshop, and thought about his small bag of scraps. Originally planned to exchange for contribution points at the Deacon Hall today, looks like have to wait until coming back. The team detoured along the periphery of the Profound Serenity Immortal Mansion. The target is a mineral relay station at the very edge. Several people are cultivators. The speed is not slow, even if Ji Yun is only Qi refining level 1. After more than a month of cultivation and medicinal pill conditioning, physical strength is also much stronger than mortals. When walking, he didn't drag his feet at all. The very front of the team is Zhengguan and Wei Ling, a man and a woman. 2 Qi refining level 7 senior brothers and senior sisters. Senior brother Zheng has an easygoing temper, occasionally turned back to count the number of heads, see if anyone fell behind. Senior sister Wei is always faint, her gaze constantly swept towards the shrubs and woods on both sides of the road. Vigilance is extremely high. Ji Yun walked in the position towards the back of the team. His brain was not idle. He calculated silently. This trip back and forth for a day or two. 100 contribution points in hand. The 200 plus points accumulated before. After paying off senior brother Zhou Changshu's debt, there are still 200 plus points left in his pocket. Is this money used to exchange for medicinal pills to assist cultivation, or just exchange for a spell? He currently only has 2 spells, Fire Drawing Formula and Basic Fire Control Formula. Purely auxiliary type. There is no spell or footwork of attack type. To put it plainly, in a scene where he really has to do something, he is not as useful as a brick. Exchanging for a spell seems necessary for the time being, but as thoughts turned, his peripheral vision caught that senior sister Wei who was always taught. Ji Yun's calculation also gradually withdrew. The situation is unknown now. Best to stay vigilant about possible emergencies around at any time. He withdrew his mind, accelerated his pace by half a step, followed the team ahead closely. The trees on both sides of the road became denser. Branches and leaves blocked most of the light. The atmosphere slowly sank. Careful, senior sister Wei suddenly said in a low voice. The team went silent instantly. Steps slowed down in unison. Ji Yun narrowed his eyes and looked ahead. At the bend of the road, a few gravels scattered on the road surface, as if pushed down from the slope by something. It was quiet around, leaving only the sound of wind, even no birds singing. Senior brother Zheng put his hand on the storage bag at his waist, without turning his head, only said in a low voice, follow closely behind. Don't scatter. Ji Yun's palms perspired slightly, but his steps didn't stop. Closely followed the team. Deep in the dense forest ahead, seems like something is staring at the pedestrians on this road. The team continued to walk forward. After a long time again, the forests on both sides remained quiet. Neither monsters out, nor suspicious figures seen. The faces of several helpers gradually relaxed. Steps were not so stiff. Ji Yun also relaxed a little. The string that was taut in his heart relaxed by half a grid. He actually also knew they shouldn't hit any big trouble on this trip. But knowing is knowing. Once this atmosphere comes up, the sense of unknown presses. It's still easy to let people's imagination run wild. Senior brother Zheng looked back at the team, seeing no one fell behind, continued to lead the way. Senior sister Wei's gaze still scanned the surroundings, but her hand had moved away from from the storage bag, obviously also judged that there was no emergency. At this time, perhaps to ease the tense atmosphere, the team started to talk. Zheng Guan spoke first, tone relaxed. I have walked this road several times. There is a tea stall ahead, although crude, but the spring water is sweet. Can rest when we arrive later. Fang Hen took the conversation. Senior brother Zheng often runs this kind of transport task. Not often. Zheng Guan smiled. Just help do it occasionally. Anyway, I think it's quite interesting. Wei Ling didn't. Still walking in the side front of the team, gaze scanned the dense forest on both sides, but her hand had moved away from the storage bag. The team atmosphere relaxed a bit. The sound of footsteps was not so orderly. Someone started chatting in a low voice. Someone kicked the small stones on the road. Ji Yun walked beside a helper named Lu. Senior brother Lu came to the weapon refining workshop half a year earlier than him. 20 years old. Qi refining level 5. Person is quite easygoing. Junior brother Ji, heard you came only for a month, and already mastered the fire control formula. Senior brother Lu turned his head to look at him. Maybe I have some talent in this aspect. Ji Yun didn't say much. Amazing. Senior brother Lu shook his head. I only practiced fire drawing formula for a month and a half, and was scolded twice. Ji Yun smiled. Just wanted to find a topic to chat. The Wei Ling ahead suddenly raised a hand. The team went silent instantly. Everyone's footsteps stopped. What happened? Zheng Guan asked in a low voice. Wei Ling didn't answer. Gaze fixedly looked at a bush at the bend of the road ahead. The bush is very dense. Branches and leaves interlaced. Can't see what is hidden inside. Come out. Wei Ling's voice is not loud, but the tone is as cold as ice slag. A few breaths later, a rustling sound came from the bushes. A gray-haired rabbit drilled out from between the branches and leaves, ears erect, and looked at the group of people, then dashed into the grass on the other side. Someone in the team breathed a sigh of relief. Someone laughed in a low voice. However, Zheng Guan didn't follow the laughter. He put away the easygoing expression on his face. His gaze sank. His whole person looked like a knife that had suddenly unsheathed. Now everyone perceived something wrong. The air suddenly became viscous. Someone swallowed a gulp, subconsciously shrunk back half a step. Ji Yun held his breath, raised his attention to the highest, didn't let go of any movement. At a certain moment, Zheng Guan suddenly moved, hand pinching the spell. A fireball slipped out of his hand, accurately smashed into the depths of the bushes. Meow. A black shadow suddenly out from the grass. Figure light and agile. 4 limbs landed soundlessly. It was a cat with a black body, size not big, fur color and shadow almost merged into one. Only a pair of eyes shone with ghostly light in the darkness, like 2 gems embedded in the dark night. Shadow cat at Qi refining level 4. Wei Ling spoke. Tone plain. She didn't stay idle. Pulled a talisman from the storage bag. Spiritual energy stimulated it. The talisman turned into a golden little sword in the air, directly towards the shadow cat's forehead. The shadow cat reacted extremely fast, barely tilted its head to avoid, but the shoulder blade was still cut by the golden sword. Black fur rolled open, seeping out dark red blood. It arched its back, just about to exert force to escape. The ground under its feet suddenly became muddy and wet, like a puddle of stirred-up mud. 4 legs just exerted force, sunk in, struggled deeper and deeper. In the blink of an eye, it was firmly trapped in place, unable to move. Zheng Guan patted the non-existent ash on his hands, corners of his mouth slightly raised, looked at each other with Wei Ling. From fireball exploration to golden sword pursuit, then to ground spell netting. Within a few breaths, the two cooperated seamlessly. The team was quiet for a moment, then someone took a long breath, as if spitting out the cotton balls stuck in their throat. Ji Yun stared at the shadow cat that was subdued. 5 flavors mixed in his heart. Qi refining level 4. Equivalent to humans. Qi refining level 4. 3 minor realms higher than him. But in front of Zheng Guan and Wei Ling, there was no room for counterattack at all. He withdrew his gaze, silently went over the order of the two just now in his brain. Senior brother Zheng explored first. Senior sister Wei connected with talisman to suppress. Senior brother Zheng added control spell to finish. One ring after another. Didn't waste a single. This is the way a cultivator of our generation should be.